Have you played this before, Fandango? I don't remember if I talked to you about this one. Alright, might be in for a treat. It's definitely a game I'd heavily recommend playing, but it's unlike Outer Wilds where you definitely have to play it yourself. As you might be able to tell from the beautiful music, it's a very, very fine game. Alright, well, let's get to it then. So, I have played this game quite a bit. I need to clear a save, let's do this one. We shall not play in Steel Soul. Steel Soul is kind of the, like you unlock that by beating the game, I think, and it's like a permadeath sort of mode. Otherwise, it is absolutely not a permadeath game, thankfully. That would be pretty rough. Game has its moments where it's pretty hard. There's also like the final add-on, edition, expansion, whatever the fuck they did to it that I still haven't actually played that much of, so maybe we'll get there. It's gonna take a while though, so I'll shut up for the intro. Well, maybe I should read it out. In wilds beyond, they speak your name with reverence and regret, for none could tame our savage souls, yet you the challenge met. Under palace watch, you thought you changed, base instincts were redeemed, a world you gave to buck and beast, as they had never dreamed. From the Elegy of Hellenist, by Monomon the Teacher. Thank you, but I didn't write that, I'm sorry, it's what the game wrote. Also, hey Astra. I'm already hydrating even though you haven't paid yet. D-pad or stack, or even just keyboard. Can't make up my mind. Alright, anyway, so, Hollow Knight. We are bug. Everything in this game is bugs. Oh boy, bugs everywhere, it's almost like Dead by Daylight after all. We have a nail, which we can use to attack, like so, we can jump, and that's about it for now. Ooh, my input's still working there for a sec, interesting. Bit of a tutorial area at the start. We must break these to get through, and here's an enemy that walks at us, we hit it, it explodes, we pick up money. 2 monies. Also, our core in the top left has slightly filled from attacking the enemy, that's gonna be relevant later. I know I've hit, whatever shall I do? I shall press the jump button. Thank you, tutorial. Oh yeah, so we can attack in any direction, well, not diagonally, we can do up, left, right, and if we're in the air we can also do down. So, as I just did there on the enemy, we can just jump on top of something and, like, keep repeatedly hopping on it. You hit this, we get money, it's good stuff, money is good, we always like money. Look at the lovely detail of the, like, little bits of dust and stuff falling off the platforms. Very realistic game with the floating platforms and all. Oop, spike. Not today. Higher beings, these words are for you alone. Your great strength marks you amongst us. Amongst us. I was gonna go among us, of course, yeah, but they actually fixed it with amongst us. Fuck. Anyway, focus your soul and you shall achieve feats of which no others can only dream. Collect soul by striking enemies. Once enough soul is collected, hold B to focus soul and heal. Well, they are right to rave about this game. This game is absolutely fantastic. I love this game. It's definitely one of my favorites. I am not committing to a full playthrough or anything of the likes. I am just playing this on a spur of the moment after contemplating game decisions for way too long, so you might not get the full experience here, sadly. I'd also recommend watching people that play this for the first time rather than replay it for the 15th time or something, so, you know, just to have a proper first experience. But alas, it's unlike, for example, Outer Wilds, where I would say you should absolutely play it yourself instead, and like spoilers and oh my god. This game, less so. It's definitely an experience and a very fun one for your first time through, in my opinion at least, but living that vicariously is absolutely fine in my opinion. Some more spikes, some more money. Yeah, so down here is our first actual pit of spikes. If we fall into these, we do take damage and we respawn on the nearest platform, like so. Boop. Oh, actually, it respawns me all the way back here. That's weird. Anyway, now we can show off the soul thingy that we were saying. So in the top left, you can see our little gauge is completely full. If I hold down the button, we expend some of that to recover 1 HP. As you can also see, we can do like pogoing on spikes by doing this. We will, in a second, use that to reach a place that is relevant for some extra loot. A spike fell from ceiling, crushed bug, as is proper. Yeah, I was considering God Hand as one of the games, but I'm not brainially functional enough right now, I think. Like, I don't know. I even made a little list of, like, all those sorts of games that I've been wanting to play at various points in time and just haven't gotten to, but alas. This one eventually just made me click on it and say like, yeah, sure, fuck it, we'll play this. Anyway, so we broke a blue thingy. I forgot what these are actually called. This gives us 2 points of shield, basically, so we now have 2 extra hit points that we normally have above our maximum. Yeah, they don't call me Brain Cube at all. Hey Art, welcome, welcome. So there's this thing here, if we go here, the floor is gonna break. If we hold left, we can just grab this cash of Geo, which is nice. Geo is the currency here. We don't know that yet, but alas. Then we move on this way. Oops, walk into spikes, because that is how you do things. And there's a little secret area down here, with a bit of money. And since I know how to do this, we can pogo over the spikes and get ourselves something extra. Fair beings, these words are for you alone. Within our lands do not hide your true form. Let all bask in your majesty, for only this kingdom could produce ones such as you. Bit of an ominous thing in the background there. We open the chest, we get an item. We collected a charm, Fury of the Fallen. Equip a charm to activate its powerful abilities. To equip a charm, open the charms menu while resting at a bench. We haven't seen a bench yet, but this will not be too far in the future. Is this a secret thing? No, never mind. And back here we are. I forgot what Fury of the Fallen was. Was that a you're low HP and then do more damage thing? I don't remember. We shall find out once we find a bench. Break the floor, go through. This is clearly Dark Souls, as is immediately evident, because it loops back to a previous place. Higher beings, these words are for you alone. Beyond this point you enter the land of King and Creator. Step across this threshold and obey our laws. Bear witness to the last and only civilization, the Eternal Kingdom, Hallownest. Big old door. very fucking big, but already broken, so we'll just give it a few slaps. Oh, and here we are. Whee! As the start of the game so neatly told us as well, there's no fall damage in this, which is lovely. Because fuck fall damage in games. Can cut all the grass. Suddenly slow down a bit because we have entered the town. Hey? Hello, sir. Oh, there, traveler. I'm afraid there's only me left to offer welcome. Our town's fallen quite quiet, you see. I don't know. I didn't skim that properly, my bad. The other residents, they've all disappeared, headed down that well, one by one, into the caverns below. Used to be there was a great kingdom beneath our town. It's long fell to ruin, yet it still draws folks into its depths. Wealth, glory, enlightenment. That darkness seems to promise all things. I'm sure you too seek your dreams down there. Well, watch out, it's a sickly air that fills the place. Creatures turn mad and travelers are robbed of their memories. Perhaps dreams aren't such a great thing after all. Aw. Geyser-induced impacts indeed. Let's get to some geysers. Don't shoot to space. So this is the Elder Bug, as a fun little voice. This game's characters speak in a made-up nonsense language, but it sounds quite alright. Gives you an idea of what their voice is supposed to be and how they speak. Sounds quite fun as well. Many used to come, hoping the kingdom would fulfill their desires. Hallownest, it was once called, supposedly the greatest kingdom there ever was, full of treasures and secrets. Now it's nothing more than a poisonous tomb full of monsters and madness. Everything fades eventually, I suppose. Feeling tired? That bench may be iron, but I assure it's quite comfortable. There's no better place to collect your thoughts before heading below. Indeed. Thus I entered the company. They just seem the talkative sort. We are absolutely not the talkative sort. But anyway, we can rest, and that is a sort of like quick save, heal, and equip charms and stuff while on a bench sort of thing. Checkpoints sort of thing. Oops. Anyway, here's our inventory. We have a charms menu with only one charm for now. Bodies of Fury and Terrorism, the Fury of the Fallen, costs 2 notches to equip. We have 3 notches available right now, so it costs 2 of our 3 points. We can unequip it later. Anyway, Fury of the Fallen embodies the fury and heroism that comes upon those who are about to die. When close to death, the bearer's strength will increase. So it's basically like Red Tier Stone Ring, again like Dark Souls. Everything is like Dark Souls. And then we have our inventory. We have nothing here, nothing there. We have Focus, which is what we use to heal. We have our Old Nail, a traditional weapon of Hallownest. Its blade is blunt with age and wear, and we have 79 Geo. The currency of Hallownest, made from fossilized shells of various forms, can be traded for goods or used as a toll in various old mechanisms. As toll. And there we go. That's it for now. Anything new to say? Nope. So I'll be doing a bunch of jumping in here because you walk slower in the town to make it feel like more fitting or dramatic or whatever. For all your mapping supplies, we will be opening soon. Iselda and Cordifer. Very fine creatures, those. And here's the old well that we heard about. Let's quickly explore first. Seems to be a bit of a graveyard here. Must break all the background and foreground elements that we can, and there's a keyhole here. Stone door with a simple lock. We won't be opening that for a long ass time. Bonk. Right, so here the actual game begins. Forgotten Crossroads is our first area. This game is basically one of those Metroidvanias, as they're called. We have a big old map that is fairly well interconnected as well. Over time we'll get upgrades and abilities that allow us to reach areas that we couldn't reach before, and we slowly fill out our lovely map that we don't have yet, which is quite alright. Three-letter Geo. G-E-O. That is weird though, yeah, I don't think I've seen many games that let you name the currency yourself. Interesting. Not sure what to feel about that. Because it kinda implies that the, that doesn't give a very solid understanding of the world, doesn't it? Or like it makes the world feel like less of a real place if you could just pick what the name of the currency is supposed to be. Although obviously that heavily depends on what kind of game it is to begin with. I'm gonna break all the things, I'm sorry. There's a big old temple with 3 masks on the outside. The Temple of the Black Egg. Look at it with the things we saw in the intro as well. Hello there, how delightful to meet another traveler on these forgotten roads. You're a short one, but you have a strong look about you. I'm Quill. I have something of an obsession with uncharted places. Notice how his name only popped up once he mentioned his fucking name. That's lovely, isn't it? Quite cute detail. This ancient kingdom holds many fascinating mysteries, and one of the most intriguing them is standing right before us. A great stone egg lying in the corpse of an ancient kingdom, and this egg, is it warm? It certainly gives off a unique air. Can it be opened? There are strange marks all over it. I do so love a mystery, and who knows what other marvels lie even deeper below us. Plenty. For so long I've felt drawn here, so many tales full of wonders and horrors, no longer could I resist, I just had to see it for myself. And what a time I chose to arrive. This dead world has sprung to life. The creatures are riled up and the earth rumbles, the air is thick. I wonder what could have brought all this about. Oh, well, yeah, in that case, I would see how the naming the currency doesn't really clash with the game. Here are those 3 masks again, or marks again, whatever. Continue to break all the things. So this guy has a horn, so he charges a bit further than the others, which just stumble forwards. So first quote-unquote actual enemy of the game, if you will. You can do fancy shit like hit things below you while you're in midair to gain some extra height and shit, like I just did there. Not that anything really came of it, but it's just a fun movement thing you can do that is not often required. So I'm kind of choosing our path without really talking about my decisions for why I'm choosing the path. That is partially because I have vague ideas of where I want to go. I don't remember the exact layout of everything, but I have vague ideas of which direction I want to be heading in, and instead of pointing out, hey, we could go down here, or hey, we could go left here, I'm just gonna go where I want to, unless I have to point something out for later. Anyway, here's our first, like, actual bigger enemy, bit of a mini-boss, if you will. At least for our current state. Yeah, I mean, that does sound pretty nice. I think racing in general is kind of an under-explored genre. There's probably more to be done with that than what's currently happening. Anyway, so this guy's pretty big. He has 2 different attacks. Doesn't he? Yeah, he does. There we go. I think I can get cheeky and get 2 hits in, but I'm playing it safe and only doing 1 at a time. And he goes down. 45 bucks, tie him. And we have a little lava friend, who we will leave right there. No, sorry. Just teasing. Yeah, you're so happy. Off you go. So we don't know what that's about yet, but we shall find out soon. Over here is a transition into a different area. You can tell by the lighting change and the fancy architecture. This goes into the... I forgot what it's called. I'm just gonna say crystal mines or something. Oh, bury my mother, pale and slight. Bury my father with his eyes shut tight. Bury my sisters 2 by 2, and then when you're done, let's bury me too. Ha ha ha, do you know that one? It's one of my favorites. We can sing something else if you like. You start singing and I'll join in. I bet you have a beautiful singing voice. So, what are you down here for? If you came to get wealthy, just look around you. These mines are still bursting with riches. There's plenty for everyone. Just grab a pick and join in. Oh, bury the knight with her broken nail. Bury the priest something about a crown? I can't remember the rest of that one. Maybe I'll just hum it. Yeah, you do that. Big man model, what? Not sure what you're referencing there, sorry. So we'll just be here very briefly because we'll run into a roadblock soon. Right in this room. Yeah, digging some rocks indeed. So this obviously open in the future, so the floor requires an upgrade that we don't have yet, so we shall explore the mines later. I just wanted to stop by because why not, since we're right here. It's also a new mechanic here, which is these statues. You can see that it's glowing. If I just spend some of my soul, even though I don't need it, I can slap these and recover a bunch of soul from them, which is useful sometimes. Not often, I feel like they're kind of superfluous, but alas. Oh, I see. I have not heard of that one or read about that one very much. That makes sense. So you may notice how whenever we hit something or kill something, the money just kind of flies everywhere and it's super inconvenient to gather. There's gonna be an upgrade we can get for that, and we'll probably get that as one of the first things we buy, and then I'll probably never take it off for the entire playthrough, because I hate watching the tiny bits of money that don't actually matter splatter everywhere, and I can't pick them up and I'll feel very bad about them. Anyway, if we go down here, there's a bunch of gates that can't be opened from this way. You can see there's a switch right below us. If we come here from the other side, we can open it, so that's for the future. And yes, you can also see enemies and spikes and stuff like that respawn as soon as you enter and exit a room. At least some of them do. This guy didn't for some reason. Sekirosuk. Oops, I just walked into him. Ow, took damage. Hold B to focus. Thank you, game. I've taken damage before. I wonder why it didn't pop up then. Maybe it's just a reminder. Eagerly hit you from below. There's more money that I missed. Can't have that happen. I think we can get you here for it. Oh, maybe I needed to... No, I think I can use that guy. So with this one, we can't jump this is too far for us, but there will be upgrades in the future that we can get. Or we can try to be cheeky and do this. If you do that correctly, I think that works, but I'm... Okay, there we go. Sorted. Yes, yes, little larva buddy. Off you go. Say larva, maybe that's not actually correct. Maybe it's just a little worm or something. Not exactly one to know about bugs too well. Right, so we have a very big open room here with multiple levels. We'll be just going through here, slapping some things. Most of the money from these guys will probably fall down all the way, kind of like we were about to. So we're probably gonna miss a few bucks here and there, but I'll try not to get too emotionally attached to that. Oops. Looks like. Come on. Right, so we are at the top. There is 2 ways we can go. On the left side, we have this room. So that in the middle there is the, I forgot what it's called. I think it's the Elder, I don't know, whatever. And these other holes are empty, so we have plenty of these worms to rescue. And we can return here afterwards, and we shall be showered in money as we're rescuing his children or whatever. So that is one of our long-term collectibles for the rest of the playthrough. You don't always get money, you sometimes also get other useful things, so every now and then you'll hit a random threshold and suddenly you get tossed something more useful than just a couple bucks. Some light coming from the ceiling here. If we had future abilities, we could go up there, but we cannot. And now we're back in the Crossroads in the first room of the game. So let's go down this time. So since nobody's been complaining or anything, I'm assuming the audio balance and stuff is fine. Like the game probably, hopefully, looks alright on stream and the game sounds alright on stream. No significant or major issues. You can hear the, at the moment, mostly ambient music, but also the actual music sometimes playing. Hear the various noises and various enemies. Okay, there's a secret passage here. We can go through here, do some stuff, but I think we are not going to be doing much here right now. I think there's a place we can't get to just yet. Oops. I am bad. Bonk. Get some more soul back. Yeah, okay, I don't think we can make those. Like, maybe we can try to do something fancy like... Oops, I didn't need to pogo there. I don't think we're meant to be here yet. I don't think we really benefit from being here yet. Guess we'll give it a look. Hold down to look down. I think we're gonna run into a boss here that's just gonna annihilate me. Maybe I shouldn't go this way. Oh well, I've committed. Big old statue for more soul. Let's quickly heal first before we waste this. Let's also not just keep slapping it in case we need more healing later. Alright, this loops back up here so we could now get this money and possibly leave. Maybe, hopefully. I mostly did that pogo through here thing just to see if I could do it instead of, rather because I actually wanted to go there. But alas, now that we're here, may as well commit. Yeah, I don't think I can win those. I mean, theoretically I could, but practically I won't. Oh, does it not? No, it's here. Never mind. With the rootling Malik out, I am dead. Oops. I needed to change sides here. Ah, fuck. God damn it, my spacing is awful. That was a good snipe. Oh, never mind, it didn't hit me for some reason. I appreciate that, the game, thank you. I really need to not get hit by that. Like, the projectiles are sometimes sort of unavoidable, so like, it's fine if I get hit by those, but the fucking flatways claw should never touch me, like that. Yeah, fuck. I think we actually got pretty close to winning that. Maybe we should try again. Yeah, let's go try again. I'm invested. Let's right to the left here. Okay, okay. So, notice a few things after we died, which is, first of all, we lost all our money, which is now where we died. We can go pick that up again. It's kind of like Dark Souls, like most things in the world. And, oops, we can also jump into spikes, that ability we have not unlearned just from dying. But more importantly, if you look to the top left, you can see that the little sort of soul vessel thing that we use to store our energy is broken, so we can only hold 2 charges now instead of 3, while we are in this state until we have recovered the rest of our body. Or recovered our soul or whatever that is technically. Thankfully it should be right here in this room. Yeah, so this is our dead body, it's gonna try to attack us. And we gotta slap it, and then we get our stuff back. I'm gonna give it another try at fighting the boss. I could just leave. Actually, maybe we should recover our soul first. Like, fill our soul container, rather. Before we try more dumb shit like that. I don't think we get anything worthwhile from killing him either. But I do not exactly remember what we got, so maybe I'm just completely wrong. Should be good enough. I wish we had the teensiest, tiniest bit more range. Oh, that was shit. Not sure. Wow, okay. I was gonna say, not sure what to do about that one, and then I just stand still and not get hit, so I guess that's what I'm supposed to do. Ow. Ow. He did just fucking walk up all the way to the flat way. Ow. Damn it, I'm not doing this very well. That was very lucky. Oh, I'm bad. Fuck, I'm very bad. Oh no, I jumped right back into him. Fuck's sake. I'm not very intelligent. Such is life. I think we can do that if I just practice a bit more of it. I'm not gonna drag the stream down into, hey, let's beat this boss that we kind of ran into a bit early. So I'll just go get my stuff back and then I'll leave. Oh, oops, I missed my exit. Can't make that. I was hoping to bounce on the fly to make it to the left side. Probably not exactly a fly, is it? But like the flying one. For fuck's sake. You had to be in that exact spot, didn't you? Little shit. Oops, I almost jumped into those spikes. Hello, my soul. Come back in. Or my shade, or whatever the fuck you are. Dark me. Maybe dying just releases my... like, my inner bad guy or whatever. We can just go this way, right? Yeah. Oh, there's spikes there. Just in case you hadn't noticed. I just wanted to point those out for the stream entertainment and the educational part of the stream. That is certainly a part that is very common here. Alright, down we go. You look alright. Oh, hello there. Come down to explore these beautiful old ruins. Don't mind me. I have a fondness for exploring myself. Getting lost and finding your way again is a pleasure like no other. We're exquisitely lucky, you and I. I'm a cartographer by trade, and I'm working on mapping this area right now. Would you like to buy a copy of my work so far? Purchase a map of the area. Yes. Acquired a map. Hold LB to view a map of the current area. View a detailed map of Hollow Nest and the map pane of the inventory. Not panel? Interesting. A map can be a useful thing, but it alone won't show you where you are. If you've not the head for directions, I suggest purchasing a compass from my wife Iselda. She's just now opening our new map shop in Dirtmouth, selling all sorts of useful things to wanderers like yourself. She'll even sell some of my old maps from time to time. I pop back to see her whenever I finish mapping an area. She's always so excited to see me. Oh, by the way, I haven't introduced myself, have I? Yes, I should apologize for that. When you spend a lot of time by yourself with just your own thoughts, you forget the niceties of conversation. My name is Cornifer, and I've always loved exploring the world. Why, when I was first hatched, I wandered off immediately, leaving my brothers and sisters and poor mother behind. That's why, as soon as I could, I moved into Dartmouth with my wife. A huge, unending kingdom to explore right on our doorstep. Who could resist? Anyway, I'll let you return to your travels. With a little luck, we'll meet again. Be safe and farewell. Oh, you're finding my map. I've tried to fill out as much as I can, but every map is a work in progress. If you'd like to fill out some of the map yourself, you can purchase some mapping supplies from my wife up in Dartmouth. We've set our little store to help make ends meet. So yeah, if we look at the map right now, this is what we got. This is the map that Cornifer drew, and this is what we bought. You can see up there where the connection is to Dartmouth is the well that we initially jumped down. Then to the left is the like vertical connector that we just went through with the little exits on the left and right. Although we haven't been on the one on the right yet. Actually, no, we came through that earlier. Never mind, I talk shit. You can see the big old black temple there, and then top right is where we fought that mini-boss and got the little grub. But anyway, this is his map. We haven't necessarily been to all these places. And we've been to some places that he has not been yet. You can find Cornifer by following his paper trail, basically, and listening for his humming, because every new area we encounter, we will eventually run into Cornifer there, who's trying to draw a map of the area, and if we don't find him and buy a map from him, we don't have a map for that area, so we kind of have to work for it a little bit, which I think is a pretty neat mechanic. Do I want to be in this room? I don't know. Sure, why not? Money is always welcome. I say, leaving behind a geo. Feeling very bad about that. This guy splits into little flies when he dies or something? Yeah, there you go. Hey, we got a grub. Hello, grub. Goodbye, grub. Anyway, we shall just continue this way for now. A lot of money around here. Here's where the devs are a little bit cheeky. You might be very eagle-eyed and spy that the rocks on the right side have a little bit of a... or have some cracks to them, and like the... especially in the transition to the darkness behind, you can see those little cracks in there. That is because this is a breakable wall, but they also put some money in front of it, so you'd be attacking this anyway, and then you'd be surprised, like, holy shit, I just broke a door. Or a wall that I didn't know was openable. Oh my god, such secret. And from there you know that you have to pay attention to that sort of shit. Or can pay attention, you don't have to do anything, but alas. Alright, let's go down here and pick up the money that fell down. And get that one in the transition without leaving. Then we have a little bit of an arena. So the gates have closed, we have to actually kill everything here, otherwise we can't progress. Only 2 waves, I thought there was 3. Rule of 3 and all. I think that's all there was to the secret upstairs, wasn't there? Let's quickly double check, just in case. So thankfully we haven't gotten the further map upgrades and stuff yet, otherwise I'd probably be driving Ardanian insane by now by just checking the map every 0.5 seconds like we did on Doom. Here we have a hot spring, so we can sit here and rest to recover our HP, and we can sit down on the bench to, well, rest and like do a little checkpoint thing, change charms if we have any available, which we do not, so yeah. Also we have the map, so our first inventory item, yay! Oh, and we can check the map from there as well. I have 2 sections, we have Dartmouth and we have the Forgotten Crossroads, and that's all we know so far. Again though, this is just the preliminary map, we will get an upgrade that makes that a lot better, so just gotta head home at some point. Right, we shall continue this loop for now. So we can't get up there, this is barely too high. Not sure if there's like a trick you could do to get up there, but it's not that important anyway. Oops. I can probably kite the bug over and then pogo in the bug to get up. But again, it doesn't really matter. I guess we'll go up to grab the money. I think I can get back up there as well, if I time this correctly. Which I did not. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. You can pogo on him there and hide in the corner to not get hurt. Anything down here? Does not look like, oops, does not look like it. So just walk right in there, no problem. Taking damage is a hobby of mine. So here's a sign with a weird symbol, though we don't know what that means yet. Well, I know, you don't. Some of you may know, I don't know. Whatever, it's not terribly important. We shall explore everything anyway. But first we'll go around and kill all the enemies, because why the fuck not? Some more soul, get some healing done. It's always nice to be full health. Do I want to be down here? Do I? Yeah, sure, why not? Let's just do it, fuck it. We should be fine. So this ominous looking room might be our first boss room. Well, first intended boss room. Weird pogoing shortcuts aside. Hello. This is the Gru's mother, or Grass mother or whatever. Oh yeah, I can probably hit her while she's doing that, huh? Wow, that was, yeah, okay. Definitely some kind of boss. Looks like Mother may have not been entirely alone after all. Alright, so much for that. Also notice this symbol, this might become relevant. So up there is a mate that we can't get to. Looks like not that horribly. Here we have another fine man. This guy looks a bit weird with this orange sort of dazed haze or whatever the fuck around him that he's possibly struggling with, so let's have a chat and save him. Oro, you oaf, you hold your nail like a club. This me how much deeper we have to go. Oh, what? Who are you? I see. This old village, what a strange dream to have led me down here. If you hadn't found me, I don't think I would have ever woken. I'm Sly. Usually I live an uneventful life. I live an uneventful life up in Dartmouth. The air in these ruins doesn't agree with me, so I'd best be getting back. If you return above, come and see me. I'm probably the friendliest face left there, so, and I can thank you properly for your good deed. You're exploring then, very brave. Plenty of courageous wanderers have been lost to the hunger of these old caverns. You have your nail though, and I can tell just by looking that you know how to wield it. I definitely do. Press X to attack is how I wield it. Great mastery of nail. See that? That was great mastery indeed. All these swings. Right. Anyway, this loops back up, so this is before the boss room. Let's go upstairs this time. think I'm not exactly where I was trying to go, but alas, doesn't really matter too much. Can't quite make that jump. Let's get rid of these. So over here we have a train. Haha, isn't this lovely? A door with an open slot. Apparently we are missing in the old ticket department, so nothing we can do here. Except get some money. Always nice to get money. Get some money, you know what I mean? Actually, can I get up here? No, I can't, okay. Just out of curiosity. So now we know that this sign here leads to a train station, or tram or whatever. Let's immediately get rid of that, because fuck it, if we can't use it, may as well break it. Oh, I thought I hit both of them with that downward swing, I did not. So the soul system and the way you heal with it is pretty, like, maybe genius is an overstatement, but I really, really like it. I think it's a really clever way of doing a health recovery sort of system and like healing system in a game like this, because for general exploration, if you're just getting hit every now and then, it literally doesn't matter. You generally strike enemies often enough that you get your healing for free in that regard. Like, you never expend items or whatever just to heal. You just kind of keep exploring and keep killing things and you get your life back, which is lovely. So I think it works really well in that context. And even for bosses, well, some bosses, especially the easier ones, you can kind of tank and spank as a result, which is a little bit unfortunate, but for the more difficult bosses, it feels like a really smart combination of encouraging players to play offensively, because again, you need to strike enemies to get your soul back, so you can't just sit there and wait and heal and rely on items, so you have to actually like play. And at the same time, you also need to take a moment to like focus, as the game calls it, which is how you heal. So like that is also a part of it. You need to find an opening to heal. So you play offensively, get your health back, or get soul, and then you find your opening to heal. And if you are able to do that in a boss fight, you effectively have infinite health and can fight it for as long as you need to kill it, which again I think works pretty well. The main issue is that some of the easier bosses, especially, you can just kind of go ham, and as long as you keep attacking and just very aggressively healing the moment you take damage, you're generally fine. Like, you could kind of see how when we were fighting the other boss earlier, that I didn't actually succeed in. There were some phases where the boss did not do enough damage to me, and every time I just hit it a few times, I could just heal and everything was fine. So, it kind of, like, on those edge cases where the boss just barely isn't strong enough, it doesn't work out terribly well, but for ow. Fucking spikes. There's an enemy in there, and it's too dark to interact with that. Right, cool. But yeah, again, so I just took some damage. Okay, who cares? Whatever. I'll just quickly slap this guy. Now we're already 2/3 of the way back to getting another health state. Also, this is the other side of the gates that we were at earlier. So let's quickly go back up. I kind of want to return to Dartmouth to spend our money. Yeah, I think Fury's system is also pretty smart. Just ignore healing altogether, but give you a health state back whenever you beat a phase or a state of the boss, which I think also works really, really well for that game. That said, for a game like this, you kind of have to have both the exploration part as well as the boss fight part functional in terms of health, so it kind of needs a little bit more than just that. But yeah, I think overall the mix of it takes time to actually heal and you get health back from attacking but indirectly works pretty well. There's another mechanic that we haven't gotten yet that also interacts with the system and ultimately makes it even better. So I think it works quite alright. There's one caveat to that, and the system does not work very well for platforming puzzles. So like if you have a part that's really difficult where you're struggling with like spikes and like you kind of have to just platform instead of fighting things and attacking enemies, then you naturally don't get any health back because you're not exactly hitting the spikes in a way that gives you your health back, right? So In those instances, you do actually run out of healing and can't really recover, which feels pretty bad. So in the platforming section, it's not ideal of a system, but for anything remotely combat related, I think it works alright. Let's quickly chat to the elder. Oh, what a turn! Our shopkeeper's come home. Just wandered back in. I'd hoped for grand tales of his time below, but he seems to remember almost nothing. Maybe it was all too much for him. If you're interested in his wares, watch out. He drives a hard bargain, that one. No competition, that's the problem. It's bad for the market, not that he's complaining. Did you visit that temple? A strange building, I've heard. Though I'd never dared the journey myself. The braver among us once went there to pray, said they felt peace within the walls. After a while they stopped going. I wonder what changed. The young couple's just recently taken up residence in the house beside the station. Seems they're running a map shop, which may excite adventurous types like yourself. She's a tall bug, the wife. I told them to take a larger house, especially given they're all empty, but they like the look of that one. The way she has to bend just to get through the door, I wouldn't put up with it myself. We're back to bench, alright, cool. So this is the shop. Hello, Sly. Let's have a chat to him first. Ah, hello, I knew we'd meet again. How do you like my cozy little store? I've made myself pretty comfortable here, selling old trinkets for travelers like yourself. If you're planning a trip below, I have several items that may improve your chances of survival. So this is a mask shard. This whole thing, merely a fragment of something larger. Still, maybe you can make some use of it. Collect 4, I think, of these to get 1 extra hit point. And this is a vessel fragment. Piece of a soul vessel, you know, those ghastly looking orb things? I don't really like the aura about it, but it's quite rare, so I'll have to charge you a high price. This is 1/3 of a soul vessel, which increases our maximum energy or soul capacity. So, you know, like heart pieces basically, and like, I don't know, magic pieces. Then we have a simple key, simply a simple key. It will fit a variety of locks, which is useful if you like to poke around in places you don't belong, such as the lock on the right side of town. Sadly, it's quite expensive, so we're not buying that. We have the Gathering Swarm, which we will immediately buy. Do you find yourself leaving a lot of geo behind as you hurry through the caverns? This charm will make sure that any loose change finds its way back to you. Basically, we buy this for 300. And we equip that on the bench. It costs 1 notch only, which is quite nice. And then it will... any currency that gets dropped automatically gets vacuumed up by us. Like, it will be delivered to us via little glowflies, which looks great and is super useful. So I am probably never unequipping that. Then we have the Stalwart Shell. Life in hell on us can be tough. Always taking hits and getting knocked around. This charm grants you more time to recover after taking damage. Useful if you need to escape from a tight spot. Basically, longer iframes after you get hit. Which is okay, but not mandatory necessarily. I'm not gonna go for that anytime soon, I reckon. Then we have the Lumafly Lantern. What's more important? A light to guide your way, or a friend who will stay by your side? Why not both? Take this bright little fellow as your companion, and he'll light your way through the thickest darkness. So we earlier saw one room that was dark. With a lantern, we can actually see in those rooms. And there is one area of the game that is particularly dark, and we want the lantern before we go exploring there. My first time through, I explored the area entirely in darkness, which was fun and exciting and challenging in a lot of ways, but not exactly recommended, so we won't be doing that. Hey Astra, welcome back, and I shall hydrate. Rancid Egg. I found this under the counter. Some creature must have laid it here while I was stuck down in the ruins. I suppose you could buy it. I won't miss its sour odor. These are, I think, some form of currency for some mate that we probably won't be interacting with much in general, and is also not terribly useful, so we're not buying that one. So that's it for now. Let's quickly head back to our bench. Now we equip the Gathering Swarm. Actually, I want that in slot 1 because I'll never unequip that. So now all 3 of our notches are taken up by these 2 charms that we have equipped. And then over here is the map shop. Look at the lovely building actually kind of resembling Corner for himself. Here is his wife, Isolda. Hello. Come to my map, have you? It's really my husband you should be dealing with, but what a surprise, he's headed down below. He'll pop back occasionally to deliver new maps to the store, but I do wish he'd spend a little more time up here. I've not much interest in retail myself. Now let's see what's here for me to sell.
Bafanada.
Bafanada. She sounds exceptionally excited. Anyway, we have the Wayward Compost. Highly recommended if you're having trouble finding your way in the maze of ruins below us, try this charm. It will pinpoint your location on your map. Incredibly helpful for finding your belongings or bearings in unfamiliar locations. We have the Quill. You'll need this if you want to update your map with new areas as you explore. It's essential for anyone serious about mapping. We will buy this immediately. Basically, what the Quill does is if we sit down at a bench, we will fill in all the parts of the map that we have visited that weren't on the map already. That kind of decides, or like, we'll see as soon as we rest, actually. I shouldn't be spending too much time explaining it. Then we have a variety of pins. We have the bench pin. These pins will mark benches and other rest spots on your map. Useful if you're exhausted and just need to find somewhere to sit. This marks the cocoons, the beautiful blue cocoons. I made these pins so you can keep track of them. The cocoons are pretty but very delicate. Please be careful around them. As in, we break those to get shield, which is fun. They're not very common. This pin isn't exceptionally useful, but over time we'll ultimately buy all of them anyway. Then you have various vendor pins, like hey, if you find a shopkeeper somewhere, you can, like, these will be highlighted on the map with these pins. Hot spring pin. We found one hot spring already, so this would be marked on the map as well. And then we have the scarab marker and the shell marker. These are markers I can place for myself and mark spots for myself. So over time I could say like, okay, we'll use this one to mark places where we can, let's say, dig down through those rocks that we've seen before or whatever. Mostly just for your own sake, but like for like marking things on your own map for yourself, which is nice but not terribly useful. So anyway, looking at our map again, this is what it currently looks like. If we go... There we go. This is, again, so far everything that Cornifer has mapped and filled in, and the map we got. But now that we have the Quill, we can rest at a bench. It shows map updated in the bottom, because if we now look at the map... So the properly filled in stuff is the stuff that we actually explored, whereas the one that's only outlined in that, like, chalky... not perfectly drawn in area is stuff that we have seen on Cornifer's map, but we haven't been to ourselves. Also notice that it's now much bigger, so any area within the Forgotten Crossroads that we explore, we will now be able to note on our map ourselves, without Cornifer having to find it first. So that's nice. Basically, it allows us to fill in the map by ourselves instead of just buying from Cornifer and dealing with what's in there. You may notice, however, that our own location on the map is not presented to us. Like, this does not show, hey, you are here. It's only, like, the actual map. If we want to see where we are, we can buy the pin here in the shop, the topmost one. It's actually a charm. The Wayward Compost, and this one will then, on the map, show the location of where exactly we are standing, which can be quite useful. That said, I don't think it's as essential. I think for most people, you'd be fine not buying that. Like... I'm always iffy about that. A lot of people that I know are really terrible with directions and, like, really bad at finding their way in even somewhat familiar environments. So, like, for those people, sure, buy it, use it, why not? If you don't have any other good charms to equip, then sure, also buy it, use it, why not? But it's not that essential. Like, if we go into this room, for example, by using just a little bit of brain power, we can probably figure out where we are, right? Like, those small, like, narrow choke point thingies on the map are always the room transitions. So if you look at where we went down in Dirtmouth, we went one to the right, where the big temple was. You could tell from the icon on the map, like, alright, that's where the big temple is. So we're one room further on the right, which is now exactly where we are. The pin makes it easier, it shows your location, don't have to think about it, but I don't know, it's not terribly important. That sounds like quite the condemnation there. In my opinion, and this might also sound a bit judgy, I think people that are bad at navigating are also really bad at taking advantage of tools for navigating. So basically, like, if someone is bad at, like, finding their way, and they know this, and they will admit this, like, yeah, my sense of navigation is bad, leave it to them to also never, like, use map markers or, like, place down things to help them, like, put down signs in Minecraft that say, hey, this way is your mine, you dumbass, or whatever. Like, I always find that very confusing, because for myself, when they... If I'm in that spot and I think, oh yeah, I'm really bad at that, then wouldn't it be natural that I use those tools to keep track of where things are? Like, yeah, sure, if you don't need it, if you don't feel like having to search your way a little bit is fine, then absolutely don't use it, but the whole, I can't find my way, and also I don't use ways of helping myself with that always confused me. Like, to give an example, in Subnautica, for example, you can craft these beacons and plop them down to have waypoints for where you want to go. And I have seen not just one person, but 2 people that are notoriously bad at navigating and that have said so themselves not use beacons because I don't want to. Instead, I'll use a mod to download a mod that shows me an actual map or whatever. Like, I don't know, I feel like that's not directional tools, that's just, like, unwilling to help yourself with the thing that you're bad at. Yeah, forgetting to use them is fine, and also, like, not knowing or not finding your way is fine. Like, if you're... I'm not condemnating, or... that's not the right word. Like, I'm not judging people that are bad at directions, that's perfectly fine, and forgetting things, all that shit, like, everything is perfectly fine in that. It's just... if you say, for example, I play Subnautica, and I am having a miserable time because I can't find this place that I could have marked for myself, and then someone suggests, hey, you could use beacons to mark them for yourself, and then you go, no, and you're still angry at the game, then I think you're being a dumbass. Just straight up. I'm not just pointing at, like, a specific person or whatever, this is just a general approach that people have in a lot of instances. Like, hey, you can use beacons to mark places of interest. Once that beacon is placed, you don't have to remember where you are, you don't have to find your bearings, because you can use that to mark it. It's even, like, you have to craft it, it's part of the actual gameplay. Like, it's not cheating, it's not free, it's not whatever. It's a tool that you can use, and people like that refuse to use these tools. I just, at that point, in my opinion, you lose the right to complain about that. Anyway, so we have something interesting here. We saw that, I think I broke it too soon before talking about it. There's an icon here. Yeah, here it is, the sign. This icon is very important. This is something worth remembering for our explorations down here. That is a sign for a stag station. What is a stag station, you might ask? Well, if we inspect here, we have a toll machine with the symbol of a stag. Insert geo. We can pay 50 bucks to activate this. This looks like a subway station, doesn't it? Anyway, we shall pay 50 bucks. And now we have a bell, and the gate is open. Let's ring this bell of awakening. Hello, friend. This is the last stag. Greetings, little one. It's been an age since I last heard the ringing of a station bell. It echoed down the stagways and called me to you. I've grown stiff and tired over these many years, and I've forgotten much, but the sound of the bell will always call me back. These stagways stretch the depths of Hallownest. If you want to travel them, hail me from the platform. I will take you where you need to go. It was a long time ago, but I remember these highways and crossroads pulsed with life. They are the paths I first carried passengers through when I was young. Those travelers are long gone, yet I still remain. Now it seems it's just you and I, and the furtive creatures scratching and squirming all around us. Eager to travel sideways, just hop on that platform and give me a signal, and we'll soon be on our way. So, this guy's the last stag, he's lovely, we can chat with him at any station that we encounter, and he has some, like, minor lore, like he just had there, about every single station, so it's always fun to, quickly have a chat with him and find out more about the world. Also, he's basically our quick travel system, so if you go here, we can travel to any station that we have discovered, and funnily enough, we start with the Dirtmouth station unlocked, even though Dirtmouth... Okay, I have an Uckman in the chat. Alright, Uckman, how do I say this properly? How do I say Dirtmouth? Is it Dirtmouth? Is it Dirtmouth? Is it Dirtmouth or something? Like, what is the official Uck pronunciation of the word Dirtmouth or Dirtmouth or whatever? Give it to me. Dirtmouth. Yeah, that Dirtmouth would also be how I assume it would be pronounced. Alright, cool. That said, stop saying things like Dirtmouth and write Dirtmouth, you fucking caveman. What is wrong with you? Like, why do you spell it mouth and then say muth? Like, what's wrong with you? Or Dirtmoth. Also nice. Portsmouth. Huh. Anyway, I'm just talking shit, just for fun. Yeah, I mean, that's a different topic, though. Like, sure, whatever. Also, look at this beautiful animation. I love this. Yeah, none of those are officially the phonetic spellings, are they? Anyway. Let's have a chat to Stagmate. This place, we're near the surface, I believe. There's a town here, you should take the opportunity to rest. This place was once full of travelers coming and going, it seems much quieter now. So now the door is open, and now we leave, and here we are back on Dartmouth. I'll stop whinging about that, sorry. Just found it funny. Have a little rant about silly pronunciations. Yeah, it makes sense. I'm just talking shit because it's fun to talk shit. And yeah, the whole haha, I'm not wearing the right suit and oh my god, why is everything doing so much damage? I mean, that's just like the part there isn't like, I don't know. I think that's just being silly in that regard. Like, I understand intentionally doing something dumb, or like intentionally making things harder for yourself, or even not intentionally, but like saying, for example, let's just take Dark Souls, because Dark Souls is perfect in every regard, right? So if I say I'm gonna use armor in Dark Souls that doesn't provide any sort of like defense, but actually gives me the fashion that I want, then you make that choice willingly and consciously, right? So it's more about the like, you made a decision, and now you gotta hold that. You gotta deal with that. Anyway, so we have one of these guys again. I'll stop whinging about that. I might here and there whinge about the navigation stuff anyway, because like that shit like annoys me a little bit. But anyway, I'll stop it for now and focus on the actual game. So we have this guy again. One thing I'm doing there against him is that I also jump in on his regular swing. Where, like, he has two attacks. He has that weird, like, club strike where he just strikes in front of him and nothing happens, and he has that butt splash where the shockwave comes out. For the shockwave, you have to jump over, and for the other attack, you just have to not be there. So I've kind of, like, I automatically just jump every time instead of, like, not jumping, because the jump would also avoid the shockwave. So if you just do this over and over, you kind of avoid both attacks either way. Yeah, you could have just spelled it Iron Mouth and got it over with. Just go full. Occupy Viking land. So yeah, anyway, one thing that I have not pointed out yet, if we look at that, like look at how the money is being brought to me by these lovely little, I think Lumaflies or whatever they're called. That is the charm that we bought earlier, and it is very convenient. Iron Meow, yeah, Cat Town basically. Make a sign next to your place, say cat lives here, and then suddenly everybody also wants to live there. Guru, that doesn't sound proper, I'm sorry. As clearly a Swede, I can only say that that is not how we Viking. Most Swedish man in the game. Says I. Alright, so here we have our first proper boss. Like the Mother Gross, or whatever the fuck she was called, Gross Mother, that we had earlier was kind of, I mean, technically a boss, I guess. But not really. Instead, in this ring, we get our first actual boss fight. So this is the False Knight. I have cornered myself, so I shall... Never mind, I leave. Thank you, that was nice of you. So he has some basic attacks, like characters in games or bosses in games do. He has a jump slash, which is like, hits the ground and it's fine. He has that standing slash, which does a shockwave. We've seen this before, with the game tutorializing various types of attacks before we meet them, and then if we hit him enough, this happens. And then we get to hit the actual boss inside. And then he goes on a rampage and drops rocks down, and we can avoid those. Also, after he does that once, notice how this wall is now breakable. That's a speedrunner thing, I think. Like, I think speedrunners can use that to, like, escape the fight earlier and never have to come here again or something. We'll not do that, we'll fight him normally. Mjolnir. I mean, Mjolnir makes a shit ton of sense. Akmen are just weird at, or like English is just weird at pronouncing the J properly. Oop, I am dumb, I should not have done that. You can also do a fun thing where you can hit those rocks as they fall down to shoot them towards the enemy instead. So like my inner Faustfire is very happy at hitting falling at— oops, I forgot what I was doing. Busy whinging, or ranting rather. Not whinging for a change. Not gonna be doing that much whinging in this game, I love this game. So also a fun fact about this fight, let's hope I can demonstrate that a bit. So hitting the armor— oops. I think, if I remember correctly, hitting the armor does not actually restore soul because we're not actually doing damage to the boss, but hitting the actual creature inside gives us soul back. So that's kind of a neat detail. We find the city crest. Wrong button. Inventory, City Crest. Stone slab bearing the crest of Hallownest capital city. It has an insert on the back that would fit into a slot, so this is a key item that we can use later. Also, this thing was apparently alive and is trying to run the fuck away, and we can hit it to bother it a bit. But yeah, this is gonna leave. Goodbye. Yeah, False Knight looks adorable. A lot of creatures in this game look adorable. I'm not one for bugs myself very much. Like, I don't particularly care for bugs. I don't hate bugs either, but this game is full of very cute, very adorable creatures. But yeah, back to what you guys are talking about. The Mjolnir thing is interesting because it's, like, English language is weird when it comes to the J sound. For some reason, you guys decided that J needs to be pronounced as a hard J instead of Y. Like, instead of, like, let's say John, it should be Yon or whatever. And most other languages that I've ever seen, like, most languages use J as, like, a soft sound, like a Y. Like, how you would say, like, Ja in German. That's a J. You don't say Ja, you say Ja, because the fucking J is pronounced as a soft sound instead of like with a D in front of it like English does it. And that's why Mjolnir looks so weird to you guys. If you actually just accept that J is pronounced wrong in English and it should be like a soft Y sort of sound, then you can just say M, Y, and then you just spell the rest of the word like normal. Like, Mjolnir is not weird. It's only weird because J in English is like J, and Mjolnir is like, what the fuck is that's weird, isn't it? Like, it's kind of weird. Goddamn. Yeah, that's definitely one example with Joseph as well. Well, sure, but at the same time, very few letters in English are pronounced that, like, I don't know, consistently weird or consistently different to what is otherwise almost universal. Like, you can go to a lot of different languages and find that the J sound usually is more like the Y sound in English in terms of how it's pronounced, but I don't know. Whatever. It's just fun to talk shit about languages anyway. I think I want to open this first, although that doesn't really matter. It does indeed. Although in my opinion even the like H sound that they use is closer to the like sound most other languages use than adding a random D in front of the pronunciation and turning it into some sort of hard sound. Oh, whatever. Let's have a check at the map. We see that we are now to the left of the boss room. There's a pathway that we couldn't take upwards that will be for the future, and that should be most of the Crossroads explode actually. No, never mind, there's a thing in the... I wish I could point at the screen, but I can't use my mouse in the middle of doing this. Does it work with this? No, never mind. I can't point, so we'll just have to deal with it. Anyway, let's just have a chat to this man. This man looks lovely and trustworthy. So this is a snail shaman, or the snail shaman, who knows? Oh, who's that creeping out of the darkness? My, you're looking grim. A strange empty face and a wicked looking weapon. Something important has drawn you down into Holomnest's corpse, but I won't ask what. Perhaps the reason you've found me is because you need my help. Say no more, friend. I'm going to give you a gift. A nasty little spell of my own creation. It's just perfect for a little one like you. Ho ho ho. That looks safe. Sure, we'll take that. Dead. Consumed the Vengeful Spirit. Tap B to unleash the spirit. Spells will deplete soul. Replenish soul by striking enemies. So we have our first of 3 souls. Spells. Not souls. Fuck. First of 3 spells in the game. And spells also use soul. So you can, instead of healing with soul, you can also use it on spells. And spells can potentially be very, very powerful. Especially, like... Well, there's one we're gonna get much later. That's very painful. But, you know... Oh, you've awoken at last. I apologize. Perhaps I should have warned you about the power of that spell. I was watching over you as you slept, but seemed to have slipped away myself. Now we're awake. I was wondering whether you could do me a small favor. Not as repayment for my gift, of course, simply because we're now friends. You see, a horrid great beast has made its home in the heart of this temple. Such disrespect. I would be quite grateful if you were to venture deeper and slay it for me. It's a hardy creature, but with your new power, you're more than a match for it. Good luck with this small favor, my friend. Oh. Yeah, also you fucking locked me in, mate. That's a very, very nice favor there, friend. What is it? Are you wondering about this gate between us? Oh, it's a curious thing, but this door will not open until you have slain that creature lying in the heart of the temple. Don't worry about it. I'm sure the spirits of my ancestors will be watching over you. Thank you, Mr. Shaman. Scully, what? I don't know what you're talking about. This looks normal. So now we can press B to cast Vengeful Spirit, which is a fun little spell. Basically just a fireball, like that. Regular projectile. We also have these roller enemies now, which are new. And we needed the spell to fight the big version of those, because it has a gimmick. One of the more arbitrary roadblocks, in my opinion, is tied to that. So we did actually need the spell for progression. I probably should have shown where the roadblocks are before we stumbled across their solutions. Oh well. Yeah, I mean, this universe, this kingdom, whatever, it seems to not treat the dead bodies of other bugs as very, like, sacred materials or whatever. Like, we're using what is effectively like Nautilus shells as currency, which in this world, Nautiluses are probably also just regular creatures like everyone else here who could not necessarily be evil or whatever. Like, I think it's just not really taken that seriously. How is it? What? I may misunderstand. I need to read that in a sec. Could be as a sharp as and as a soft as, and it's clearly the other way around. Oh, that's also because of another weird English way of saying letters, which is that in English the Z sound is the soft S sound for some reason, whereas the regular S is a sharp S for some reason, which is also unusual and not how most languages do that. So in this case it's just that English says, okay, if you want to have a like soft S sound, then you use the Z instead, whereas for most other languages it's the other way around. So you have like what's a good word? Zucchini comes to mind, because food. So like zucchini, you'd use the Z as a soft S sound in English, because that makes sense to English speakers apparently. So yeah, this is the big version of the Roly Mates, and as you can see, they are well armored, and if you get close, they just hide in their shell and don't interact with you. But if you're far away, they shoot at you, so we can use our newfound magic abilities to deal with them. Otherwise, they'd be completely invulnerable to us, which is unfortunate, but alas. We have now slain the great beast or whatever, and we find an item. We have the Soulcatcher Charm. You think S is a soft sound? That is weird. I probably shouldn't even say it that strongly because already in like broadcasting and shit, like microphones struggle a lot with S sounds because they're too like sharp and striking, generally speaking. Oh, so it's done then. You've slain the beast. The poor thing, it must have been terrified of you. It used to be quite docile, but the rancid air in these caverns filled it with some ancient rage, probably the orange particles everywhere. So you did what had to be done. You have my gratitude. Of course, we both know you wouldn't have made it through without that spell of mine. And look, the gate between us is opened. Oh, I'm sure you're eager to move on. Farewell and have faith. Whatever you're seeking, it will find you. Why do you hesitate? You get nothing more from me, I'm afraid. Though I do admire your persistence. Man has a serious case of the Dark Souls with the fucking giggle after every sentence. Right, so here's a new charm for us. This is the Soulcatcher, used by shamans to draw more soul from the world around them. Increases the amount of soul gained when striking an enemy with a nail. So we can replace our pseudo RTSR with Soulcatcher instead, and now we get more soul from hitting things, which is nice. We haven't been really using the Fury of the Fallen charm anyway, so may as well. So this is where Cornifer was sitting, and he's done making his map now, so if we inspect... Sorry I missed you, if you're feeling lost, why not pop up to our store in Dartmouth and purchase a map of this area, available now for an excellent price, says Cornifer. So basically, if you go through an area without finding him and not buying the map, then he will have returned home, and the map will now be purchasable in the shop. And if I remember correctly, the prices in the shop are a little bit higher for buying the map, so you are definitely encouraged to find him and buy the map off of him first and foremost, and especially because you might want to have the map while you're initially exploring the area. Like, if you've missed him, that kind of implies that you've gone through the entire area without a map, which is probably pretty hard for some areas especially. So you generally always want to find Cornifer. It's kind of a fun little minigame of you enter a new area and then the first thing you're looking for is, okay, let's hope we run into Cornifer at some point because I'd really like to have a map, and then it works out really well because of the way he's humming, and you can see the paper trail and whatever. Like, you're even from a distance, you're like, oh cool, there he is finally. Like, you find it. Hey, we got something as well. From freeing all these grubs. We have our first mask shard. Like I said, these are basically like heart pieces. As soon as we have 4 of them, we have 1 extra health, which is nice. Say S like soft. 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 How is that not the same as what I've been saying earlier? Like, yeah, sure, it's quote-unquote just air flowing through a specific mouse shape, but the sound is sharp and, like, especially with, like, microphone shit, like possibly hurting your ears, and people use, like, de-essers and pop filters and shit to make the noise less painful. And yeah, zebra, for example, yes, exactly, you are correct. That is why I say that the fucking English is weird to use the Z for the soft version of the sound, whereas most other languages do it the other way around. Like, just as a simple example of what I mean, in, like, German, you'd say Sand, right, for, like, sand. Sand and Sand are basically the same word, spelled exactly the same. The pronunciation is slightly different on the A as well, but that's fine. It's just that, for some reason, English wants that to be, like, a sharp S, and German uses a soft S there. And that's, like, okay, that's, like, whatever, that's just language stuff, but that's sort of what I mean. The S in Sand is the soft S that the English speakers would use a Z for some reason. Like, that's the difference that I mean. Like, most languages, from at least the ones that I know, use the soft, or to make the soft noise, use the normal S, and for sharper noises, use the Z, or just use the Z in general differently. So, like, for German, you'd even have the specific letter of the sharp S, basically, just for describing that exact noise that you want there in English. It's like, I don't know. It do S hard and soft. Well, sand and zucchini, there you go. the two examples that I've been using already. Yeah, then I honestly think that you're just using the word soft and sharp, not in the way that it's usually used to describe language in that case. Like, from my limited understanding of linguistics, the sharp thing would definitely commonly describe the word S, or the word, yes, the letter S, or the way it's pronounced, whereas the Z would instead be, like, soft, and, like, in terms of how it, just what the linguistic that is, or the language that is used to describe that sort of stuff. Yes, you are missing the point. The point was that, or well, initially the question was, so why do we have a sharp S, like in a special letter for letter for a sharp S sound in German, is what Astra was asking, and why would we not use the normal S for that when it's the other way around? And my point was that in German, if you normally just use a normal S, generally speaking, it's going to be a soft S. Whereas if you need to have it specifically like the sharp version of the S, there's a special like thingy. But because it is in the way language is used to describe those sounds. There you go, zebra with a Z, don't you? Like, or am I misunderstanding what you're saying? But yeah, that is honestly just a super subjective thing then. I think to the vast majority of people, S would be a sharp and like, I don't know, borderline painful depending on microphone quality and shit like that sound. Whereas Z would be a much more like soft and sort of cushiony sort of sound. I don't know how to describe it. And if I remember correctly, that is also how like the study of language and sounds and that like would describe it. It's not just me randomly saying that. Like, even just looking at how you would describe that for like what's it called, onomatopoeia, the fucking words that describe sounds. If you like you have the hiss of a projectile flying through the air, or like the hiss of like a whatchamacallit, I can't remember the word, like a Zündschnur, for example, like how you would write that as like a hiss or like a s or whatever, like as fairly sharp sounds. Yeah, and I kind of mean rightly so, right? If you're talking about something in that field and there are two words that describe two different things and you're using the wrong word, then you would very naturally have to like make sure you're using the correct one, not like give people the wrong thing accidentally. And in terms of origins, like whether the sharp S sound that Germans use is like, or the reason they call it sharp S, if that's different, I don't know, but it lines up perfectly with the way linguistics also uses it, so I don't personally see any sort of issue with that. By the way, also me shitting on English just for fun is also not like me saying like, oh yeah, German is much better, German is a shit language for the most part. I have no horse in this race. Not saying one is better than the other or whatever. Anyway, let's quickly go to the game for a second in terms of discussion. So interesting is we don't have a map for this area because we're in a new area. We're in fuck, what's it called? Green Path maybe thing? I don't know. Anyway, so we have beautiful music here. Not by the bench because it's a resting place. But in general, we have beautiful music. You have a shit ton of detail in the background. Not sure how clearly visible that is because of the background fog and like Twitch and stuff. And green myth, fuck you. But there's a shit ton of detail in the backgrounds as well, and I saw a thing at one point about the making of this game, and I think this game uses 7 or maybe 9, one of those two, layers of parallax for how it creates its environments, and you can see that by how they like all dynamically like flow together in the background and create this impression, which is quite insane for a 2D platformer created by an indie team of, I think, like 3 people or something. So, or anyway, a very small indie team anyway. It's kind of crazy. Oh, who that? Oh, they left. Oh. So this place is a little bit more tricky. Enemies are a little bit more dangerous. Been smooth. I don't quite see it. Good try though. So we have this water, which is like acid. That's not for touching. We have enemies that are a little bit more sneaky, more attacking. We had those, these guys for example, they explode on death and they release gas clouds as an attack, which is kind of nasty. We had the ones that are hiding in the bushes and in the ground and then come out to attack you. That's also pretty cheeky. We had a, like, little, I guess, bug-eating plant thing lying on the ground and wait until someone steps on it. And then it snaps shut and tries to eat you. It's also lovely. Basically, this place is a lot more tricky. A lot more... Oh, shame. I thought that was gonna line up. Well, I mean, good for you and your linguistic sister if you want to be wrong together. We have these things, which you cut down to create platforms. They crush enemies below them, so if we want to get rid of this guy, we do this. Doesn't even explode, which is lovely, but we also don't get money. Fucking Binsode makes 0 sense. At least Bin Smooth would be consistent, I guess, with other ways of writing that. Ah, you hear the humming, we see the paper trail. Fine man's around to save our map woes. Save us from our map woes. Right. Isn't this a contrast from the Crossroads? Such a humid, lively place. The roads twist and turn in the most wonderful ways. I've done my best to chart the area ahead, though I must admit some of the areas inhabited provided quite a nuisance. Purchase map of the area, yes. Right, so now we have the bit of green path that Hornifer's laid out. The filled in part being the one that we have filled in ourselves previously, or explored ourselves previously, and then the rest being the, like, greenish outline. Oh boy, see, we're pulling out the serious credentials because this discussion has turned very serious. That is very interesting. Alright, I guess the colloquial way of saying that is very wrong then. I don't know. I have, in that regard, at all times, only ever heard people say it that way, with like that being a sharp S sound and like the S sound being considered sharp and the other sound being considered soft and stuff like that. Oh. Yeah, that's also pretty good. Huh, yeah, interesting how that's a thing then. Maybe, okay, then that would make sense, because apparently just worldwide it's not considered a thing, but in Germany it is considered a thing, and that's probably why we then have that specific descriptor. So like if you're saying it's not used as a descriptor for any sound, but then it's considered a descriptor for a sound in Germany, which would also explain why for me that seems so obvious and natural, and why I've only ever heard it described that way, but for apparently you and your sister. That is not how life works. Anyway, so we have the hunter here. Fuck, I completely ruined this otherwise pretty interesting moment because of rambling about various things. Anyway, fuck this game, I reckon. We're just rambling about random shit and just playing things so I can play things. Do you feel the urge inside to stalk, to kill, to understand? Then take it, my journal. It will aid you. At first, the text may seem difficult to discern, but a learned hunter will come to understand its words. Venture to the depths of this land and slay its beasts. Prove yourself worthy to bear the mark of the hunter. Spits out a journal. How lovely. So now we have the hunter's journal. We can find it in the menu, and it lists all the enemies that we have encountered and defeated, and it has 2 stages to every enemy. We have a, for example, for the Vengefly, flying predator that pursues its prey relentlessly, and if we have killed 20 of them, we get a more detailed description of them. We get some musings about their origins or what they're about. So, for example, for the Gruzzer, simple-minded creature that haphazardly buzzes around, bumping into things, and since we've killed enough of them, they only seem dimly aware of their surroundings, making them easy prey to cut your fangs on. What is it that guides them on their path? It almost seems like their search for ways to die. And we can start filling out the journal now by killing enough things. We've actually been, tracking kills, I think, before picking this thing up, but alas. Yeah, the reason I figured that would be more of a, global thing is because I've heard it said that way, and well, not with the descriptor of the sharp and soft necessarily, but I know that the S sound is used the same way in Swedish, where it's not a sharp sound, but a soft sound by default. I know from DK that it's also the same in Danish, that they also usually use the soft sound and Z for a sharp sound and stuff like that. So, in general, from what I have heard, which apparently might be wrong or whatever, or just a local thing, the locals that I have been to and talked to have all had the exact same experience of English being the odd one out in this regard. Oops. Regardless of whether you want to necessarily use the soft or sharp descriptor then. Oops. Fuck's sake. I saw it coming as well. Oh, I should heal at some point. Oh, much better. I think we came from up there, so we want to go around this way. Yeah, that's where we just picked up the journal. Oops. Should have just stood there for a while. I mean, I find that very confusing that you wouldn't think that way. Again, because if, you do an S sound into a microphone that does not use a pop filter or a de-esser or whatever, it will be painful to the ears in a sort of, stinging, sharp-ish sort of sound. Ever take a, pick up a bad quality microphone and record yourself doing an S or whatever sharply into it, and you will have an issue that is very common in, broadcasting and whatever, where S sounds get picked up weirdly and, distort into something that is painful to the ear, and hence the descriptor of sharp makes perfect sense to me. Oops. Jump into that. I'm not entirely sure which direction I want to go next, actually. Maybe I do want to go down there. I kind of want to kill the enemies first. The sound that a flute makes is very different to the sound that a, sharp S makes if you just do that into a mic or whatever. Whistling is much less sharp than an S. Maybe S is just a bad frequency for, recordings or whatever, but again, in the way that I have always heard it and understood it all my life, it makes a shit ton of sense. in the way it comes together. Like, whistling itself is much less problematic for the microphones as well. And yeah, like Fandango says, flutes can... yeah, I know you're making a music joke, but also in a more serious manner, flute sounds do not have to be high-pitched and or sharp or whatever, or like strong striking sounds like that. Flutes also often have like lower, not necessarily like bassy tones, but like lower notes that they can play that are, in that regard, still pleasant to the ear and not necessarily shredding your, nice, it managed to needle its way down here, that's nice. Good job, enemy. That said, a flute playing a very, like, high-pitched, very, I don't know, strong, intense, whatever, note would be something that I would also consider a sharp note, probably. Don't have, like, an immediate example offhand to describe it, or to, like, use it like, hey, listen to this, but, I think there's merit to that. All flute sounds, okay, that's a bit extreme. Interesting. Like, even, like, I don't know what these are called in... English. What about, for example, ocarina sounds in Ocarina of Time? Are those also in that kind of frequency area, or like sound area, where it would be painful? Alright. Right, we're not following you this time. Let's go this way first. I think there's a little bit to explore before we move on. I think I need the... oh, never mind. This goes to the other side. Like in general, my tiny bits and oh, never mind. From Moss and Leaf, our life is drawn. While it grows upon the path, we shall never wilt. Good for you guys. My very, very basic understanding and the occasional, like, actual linguistics words that I know and or use are mostly from things I've learned from my mom, who teaches, children with speaking disabilities. So, that's kind of where I picked up the occasional, like, word or way of describing things. And so that's something we do occasionally talk about. And I have occasionally read things about, as a result of that. Helping her out with work stuff. Right, that's where we were a second ago. I should probably try to actually focus a little bit again on the game and talk about it a little bit. This place is a bit mazy. We have plenty of options to go. We do also, however, have this creature that we've met, who is running away from us, but always waiting for us. So, like, kind of luring us somewhere, I would say. Meaning we do have some guidance of where exactly we want to go. I can't... oh, I can actually get up here. I think there's a thing to pick up on the right side here, but we might not be able to get it yet. Also, I love how the, like, foreground thingies hang in the way, actually giving the overgrown feel and impeding your view a little bit and stuff like that. I don't think I can do that because we don't have the upgrade yet. No, okay. Maybe we can make that jump, but I think it's not how we're supposed to do it. Yeah, I understand. I'm also not saying, like, implicitly, oh yeah, Germans are right because we understand life better or whatever. I'm mostly just curious as to how you could possibly not think that a very sharp, or very heavily pronounced S sound could be considered sharp, as like sharp being like a sort of painful, hurty, like at least when done excessively, like a uncomfortable, unpleasant maybe sort of sound. And like me, if I was to like remove the pop filter, leaning into the microphone and doing a loud and possibly, in my opinion, quite sharp S sound would be the perfect demonstration of why it would be considered a sharp sound, you know? Like, for me it just makes a lot of sense that that might be a sharp sound. Yeah, but that's the thing. The way microphones pick up as sounds doesn't need to be exaggerated. I would exaggerate it for easy demonstration purposes, sure. But even if you're just speaking normally, you often have that issue in like amateur broadcasts, or like when people are new to streaming that their microphones aren't set up properly, or they use like a high quality mic but don't have it set up right. So like they buy a Blue Yeti because it's like, oh yeah, that's the microphone to get, and it picks up noise super well, so they speak directly into it. They don't have a pop filter or a de-esser or whatever, and you have every time an S comes up, it's this kind of like sharp, little sting, spiky sort of thing, and it like that very naturally to me feels like a sound that might be described as sharp. Not because sharp is like the perfect word to describe it, but rather because if you had to assign a word to that and someone decided sharp was the word, then that would make sense. At least on a fundamental level. It's not entirely arbitrary is what I'm trying to say. Like, it kind of makes sense too. How you perceive it in that way. And that would entirely be without people overstating it intentionally. Like, I don't think if you're... like, for example, I watch a lot of... or less so these days, but I used to watch a lot of, like, esports tournaments and stuff. And very often you'd hear how broadcasters have these good microphones and like high quality equipment generally speaking, but the levels and everything aren't perfectly set up, so these people are trying to put on a professional show and they do actually have good microphones that pick up sound properly and stuff like that, and yet you'd often have people like complaining like how you can hear the mouth sounds of that person, or whenever they speak, like they like the S sounds especially are like super painful. Or similarly you have also issues with like words like, or not sounds, not words, things like P's and B's like popping a little bit too much, like those sort of issues, and as a result the like descriptor of this is a sharp sound just makes sense in the context of that being a thing. I don't know. Yeah, you have that a little bit where the like those things are a little bit spiky. It's not extremely spiky or terribly painful or whatever. Yeah, that's exactly the like that's where the rest of the sentence went. I'm saying it's not like actually an issue. It's not so bad that I would be saying they're like, oh yeah, well this is a problem, you need to fix this. It's just noticeable that these are a little bit more pronounced because it's actually picking up sound a little bit better probably than your old microphone did. I am not entirely sure how this loops back to where we were, but we'll just open this, fuck it. We're kinda near the boss, but that's fine. Let's just fill in the map and see what we learn. Right, so... where are we in this? How is that not filled in? Am I done? I must be done. Thought we were there. Oh. So we should have two exits here on the left side. One of them is boss and the other I don't quite remember. I think that's just where it loops back. Looping back to what I was whinging about earlier, if I was now complaining that I don't know where I am, this is confusing, then I'd be an idiot in my opinion, because clearly that is my own undoing. Like, I have, first of all, been just walking through this place on complete autopilot, talking about random shit. This looks fine. So, if I lose my way because of that, then that's normal and kind of what is to be expected. And also, if I had equipped the charm or bought the pins to mark my locations, then I would also have less of a navigation issue with that. I need to actually kind of focus on this for a bit, because I don't remember exactly how this works. I think if you time this correctly, you can just kind of pogo on him and clash every time. There's a fun system in this where if you attack an enemy while it's attacking you and your attacks overlap, kind of how it is in Strive, you clash, which effectively kind of works as a parry. Like, it usually prevents you from being hit by the attack that you clash with. And you can kind of use that on those guys as well and make your life a little bit easier with good timing, but I didn't quite remember what I was doing, so it's just hitting them. Do I want to go up? Yeah, let's go into this room. Yeah, and I think for, like, especially the, let's say, somewhat strongly pronounced S's or poorly picked up S's in terms of, like, audio equipment and stuff, it doesn't even need to be, like, a specific hypersensitivity or whatever that makes that happen. Like, I think that's a fairly common reaction. Yeah. They do have some fun noises like that. Do I wanna go? Fuck it, let's not go back yet, let's do this way. So we meet a new NPC here, which is a pretty fun NPC as well. So this guy looks a bit like us. He's an idiot though, but that's fine. We actually have a choice here. We can ignore this, and he will die. He will be absent from the rest of the game. We actually have to save him if we want him to stay in the game, which is interesting. He is a bit of a dick though. I'll let you guys enjoy his whinging and moaning and complaining while I go take a leak, BRB, and you can also consider if we, like, if you guys universally say we should leave him to die, then we do that, but normally I wouldn't do that, so, I don't know, BRB. I think this stream has been the perfect example of why I am not a particularly good streamer or would never be a particularly good streamer. Because I am, just to explain that, I'm constantly torn between, I want to stream to showcase and highlight the game that I'm playing, like I want the focus to generally be on the game that I'm playing, but at the same time I also really like the idea of, we can just chat about whatever in a stream, right? Like, that's fine. Like, this entire discussion about, like, that and, like, the language stuff that I occasionally bring up and the occasional whinging of me about people being bad at helping themselves or not helping themselves and then blaming the game, that sort of thing is like fun to discuss and talk about in my opinion. Like I don't mind that at all. But at the same time, it has very heavily changed the stream from at the beginning. I'm like, hey, look, here's this cool game, and we do this, and I read out the dialogue, and we do that, and blah blah blah, and that's all cool. And then from there, we've done the majority of Green Path with me paying zero attention to the actual game, fully on autopilot, just walking through that while we're rambling about something else. And I kind of want both. Like, I'm fine with talking, and I'm fine with highlighting the game, but the moment it mixes, I feel it's really awkward and really difficult. Like, I feel like I've not done this area, like, from the game's perspective, or for the game rather, I've not done this area much justice, and, like, not done this very well as a, hey, look, this game is really awesome, I love this game, you should play this game, I want to show you why I love this. But at the same time, we've been chatting about shit, so, like, hey, that's some big man streamer energy right there, right? Like, that's cool that we get to actually chat about something instead of just a dead chat and the streamer rambling to themselves, so I don't know. I think I'll never be able to properly unite that sort of thing. I disagree. I think you don't need to turn it into a let's play or a like single player session. It's... oh god, here we go again. But no, I don't think you need to necessarily turn that into like a single person recording or a super let's play heavy style instead of a stream style. I think you can absolutely have that be a stream style, but I think the discussion then should try in general to be more about the game, or at least things relevant to the game. Like, the pacing of the stream needs to kind of align with that as well. Like, hey, we're going into a room, we discuss shit, and then we kind of move on, and then when another thing pops up that I want to talk about, I can just be like, hey, look, here's this cool thing that happens. I look at this cool, let's say, like the parallax effects or the music working really well here, or the way they did whatever, right? And then we can talk about that as well. Like, it doesn't have to be necessarily a super let's play sort of heavy style where it's just me rambling and you guys are completely ignored or whatever, but like, you can try to combine that. It's just, I don't know. I think it's also a thing where or part of the reason why I generally tend to do alright with multiplayer games more, because multiplayer games I can do both things with. If I, like, initially when I started streaming Dead by Daylight, for example, I was super into, like, or into is maybe the wrong way of saying it, but like, I would basically constantly explain my thought process, and here, this is why I'm doing that, and this is what I do here, and blah blah blah. I'd constantly be talking about and analyzing the game. Whereas I can also do the thing that we have also recently done, where we just chat about whatever while I'm just playing the game in the background, and nothing of value is lost because it's quote-unquote just a multiplayer game. Here, let me quickly finish this fight so we can stop hearing him whinge, because it's starting to get a little bit annoying. Well, that was slow. Fuck's sake. I guess we'll just do. Oops. There you go. Right. So that's why I think I work generally well with multiplayer games, because for multiplayer games, I don't need to give a fuck about the individual round. If we're playing Dead by Daylight, I don't need to give a fuck about Dead by Daylight or showing off the game in its intended way. If I just sit around and do shit, or if I fuck up as killer 15 times, that's just part of it, it doesn't matter. Whereas for single player games, especially something that I really like and care about, I do on some level want to explain, or like show the game off and explain the game and why I like it and stuff like that. And for multiplayer games, I can have a round where nobody's saying anything and I can just explain my thought process and do my normal thing. I can have a round where I'm not feeling it and like you guys aren't saying anything, so we'll just be mostly quiet with me occasionally reacting to something funny. Or we can have a full-on discussion about whatever the fuck's going on and nothing of value is lost. So I think that works pretty well in that regard. Whereas for single-player games, I feel like I tend to value showing game over chat a little bit, but at the same time, especially when I myself am streaming, I am absolutely willing and wanting to engage with chat on whatever the fuck we're talking about, so I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy you guys are enjoying it, and I'm glad, of course. Like, that's kind of the point, right? Either way, that's ultimately what it boils down to, that you guys are having a good time. But at the same time, I think for myself and what I like, there's maybe a little bit of a disconnect between what I would like in an ideal world and like what this ends up generally being. Like, yeah, it's perfect and great that you guys are happy with this, but at the same time, I think in an ideal world, I'd rather, at least on some games and some playthroughs, focus more on highlighting the game, even like I don't know, whatever. I guess I need to sort that out. But unless I don't know. Anyway, that's not to say that this has been like a shit experience or whatever, or that nothing is wrong. But like, it's whatever. What do you think you're doing? You dare to come between me and my prey? Is it a habit of yours to scurry about, getting in the way of and causing bother? Know this, cur. I am Zod the Mighty, a knight of great renown. Cross me again and you'll find out why they call my weapon Life Ender. Alright, Zod. What are you still bothering me for? I'm a knight. I'm not interested in your childish games. I need my rest. Begone, lest I drew my nail. Yeah, I disagree. I don't think it has to be black and white. I think you can absolutely, and I mean, I have streams that I watch that are that way. You can absolutely chat about the game and chat with the streamer and interact with the streamer while still having the game be primarily the focus for the most part. Like, there is, in my opinion, a middle ground that exists. It's just, I can't force the middle ground, and I mean, you know, like, it's hard to like create that when you're not right there. Like, just because I would prefer the middle ground also doesn't have to align with what you guys want, and ultimately that's what's more important anyway, right? So like, I don't know, it's hard. The green children walked from the dream onto these lands. Here we now shall wait, patient for the call to redeem. Return, not redeem. Grumpy fuck might be a bit of a misunderstanding there. I think he's more absolutely clinically insane. I also like that you're assuming there's gonna be an arc and it's not just gonna be his one character trait. Not sure if that's respect on the game or just the general expectation. Either way, makes me wanna possibly continue this and show the rest of the ass. Yeah, see, I think that's a linguistic mistake you made right there. I think arcs are meant to be round, and if not, you're just using the word wrong, I'm sorry. I'll have to sharp you from the stream. It is pretty easy to die to these guys when you don't know what you're doing. I guess it would be easier if we did the next boss first, but alas. Oh right, if I hit them first they always just swing their nail and I can just always do that. Neat, alright, cool. Yes, off you go. Yep, I think this is the shortcut back. Yeah, now we can get up from here. This leads back to the room we came from, which is down here. Last time we were here, we went to the right, fought one of those guys, and then went up. Let's this time go up on the left side, see what else we have to see. Get some shield bullshit, because why not? Fuck. Oh, there we go. Let's try to get away. Must kill all the things. Save more lore. The Greater Mind once dreamt of, or dreamed, I guess, of leaf and cast these caverns so. In every bush and every vine, the might of Un reveals itself to us, or Un or On. Let's have another linguistic discussion, which is the correct pronunciation. Is it Un or is it Un? What say you, men and women, I guess, in the chat? I should probably start moving away a little bit from the, oh, no, we've done this. Let's not go this way again. I kind of want to move away a little bit from the, just saying alright men and hi men and whatever that DK is doing. I think it's like a funny thing in general, but like maybe I should come up with my own thing instead of. Just, you know, copying what others are doing because I find it fun. Yeah, you should trust my feelings about geometry, even if they're German influenced. Right, that to the left there is the boss room, so we shall explore a little bit first. Hey, I got knocked back from hitting that, even though it wasn't available to beat yet. Interesting. We have a lot of money. Probably go spend that as well at some point. So there was a stag station down here, which means we absolutely get to spend it right the fuck now. $140 for a train station? Oh god. I guess it's a permanent ticket. Like, you don't have to pay for the actual ride, you just pay for the station itself. Hello. My, this place has much changed since the last saw it. The greenery grows so wild, the stations like to be consumed by it. Stations like to be consumed by it? Wouldn't it be likely? Whatever. Let's quickly return home and buy a thing or two. Must press buttons at all times, it's important. Hello there. You there, why are you skulking about in the shadows? Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. I am Zolt the Mighty, a knight of great renown. Tremble before me. While you were hiding here in your dingy little village, I ventured into the dark pit below us and slew a great beast. It had sharp mandibles and atrocious manners. Yes, yes, all glory to me, but I do not have time for your adulation. I must rest and prepare for my next journey down. That daft old fellow over there, he keeps talking about absolute drivel, seems to think the very air is deadly around down in the caverns. Perhaps he should consider not breathing. He keeps talking about dreams too. Dreams off of those, too feeble to truly live. Oops. What a squalid little hamlet this is. The air is foul and the townsfolk have beady eyes. I'll be heading back down below as soon as possible. Right, off you go then, mate.
Bapanada.
Alright, let's buy the Wayward Compost. Just so we have that one already, and then we can quickly go in here. Magpie, what? I guess we'll save up for the Lumafly Lantern instead of just spending on random shit. 150 for a hard piece is pretty fair, let's buy that quickly. Oh, yeah, I mean, that's a pretty common shop in general. I never thought I'd see such a thing. The stack station is open. That building lay silent since before even my time. Oh, I've heard tales of glorious lines, a web of tunnels running all through the kingdom. Not that I'll be traveling them, mind you. I'm quite content where I am. Good for you. Used to think the kingdom below was all dead and cold rock, but I've since been told different. Travelers speak of startling variety in Hallownest caverns, even just besides those crossroads. There's meant to be an area filled with leafy greenery. I told those same travelers about the wonderful grasses that grow around the town. They didn't seem impressed. Yeah, mate. Your understanding of greenery is possibly a bit limited. Yeah, Zod isn't quite like that, but he is pretty interesting in that regard as well. Let's rest here in case we die to the boss. Alright, in we go. Look at the fucking... yeah, whatever. Gonna whinge about the layers, just how fucking much effort went into creating that effect. Come no closer, ghost. I've seen you creeping through the undergrowth, stalking me. This old kingdom, a terrible thing awakens. You can smell it in the air. I know what you are. I know what you tried to do. I can't allow it. Right, Hornet, let's have a chat about those. Also has one of the better soundtracks of the game, or one of the best ones in the game, I should say. So she did a thing there where I hit her a bunch and then she got stunned for a little bit, and I couldn't use the stun to get 3 hits, like I got 1 hit but then she immediately recovered. I think those stuns occur on early bosses so that the player has time to recover health if they want to. Like when I hit her into the corner with that stun, like I could sit here and recover health, so I have some downtime in the fight. Later bosses stop doing that, so like it's only like an early game thing, which leads me to believe that's meant as like a sort of help for newer and struggling players. Guess I should shoot her a bit more. We're not really using soul. Let's see. Oop. Oh, that was up. Yeah, off you fuck. Let me loot my corpse in peace. We have taken the Mothwing Cloak, and now we can dash, which is beautiful. We will be dashing basically at all times. We dash. Oh. Let's seek to break the seals. They cannot be undone. They must be undone. Let us sleep, little shadow. Return to your darkness, allow us our peace. Nah, we fine. Fuck you guys. Alright, so we can dash on the ground and we can dash in the air, and that's beautiful, and we will be making good use of that. So one issue that a lot of Metroidvanias have, in my opinion, is that they are kind of bad to play before you get your first couple upgrades. And to an extent this is also true in Hollow Knight. We're missing some very basic features for not just traversal but also just quality of life basically, and in that regard the game does start you off pretty poorly. Now that sacrifice is reasonable in the sense that it makes it so that when you do get those upgrades it feels better, but you still kind of feel like you're playing a lesser game at the start. Yeah, I knew you were that guy. I was just curious how much I can push you before you attack me. Oh fuck, this time flash attempt. Oh, hey there, Quillen. Squirrel. Well, there, since we both tread far from the path, I can hardly believe those dusty old highways led to such a lush and lively place. This building suggests some form of worship, though its idol has clearly been long forgotten. Doubles equally well for a moment's respite. Indeed. Have a rest. Saw a strange fellow out there. He seemed quite taken by the lake. I'd planned to go to offer greetings, though I figured I'd first tend to my nail on chance our meeting goes poorly. Yeah, good call. Your nail looks like a fine instrument, but it's showing signs of wear. I'd wager up there would take you far. Down here, however, I suspect you'll soon meet dangers the surface world cannot match. Helleness is perfect for vigilant explorers like us, so tense and thrilling. In this place, you're either alert or you're dead. Nah, don't worry about it. It's like, I'm not saying like, oh, you should definitely stop talking about anything that isn't the game herder or whatever. It's just that I myself find myself trapped in that, like, I'm kind of unhappy either. Well, I mean, I'm happy if people are having a good time or whatever, so that's kind of the main point. But like, for what I want the stream to be, like, I'm kind of in the, like, I myself feel trapped in there. It's not because any of you are like, distracting me or whatever. That's not the point. You should feel free to keep doing that. And I mean, if I don't want to engage with that, I can just not engage with that and stop the discussion in that way, right? So like, don't feel bad about that. You did absolutely nothing wrong. Right, so we have the dash now, which makes life a lot better. Oops. There was at least one thing that we couldn't get earlier without the dash, so let's quickly go backtrack for that. My general approach to this kind of game, where you do get a lot of unlocks and like new mobility options and stuff, where a lot of things are initially locked off to you, is usually that I progress as much as the game wants me to progress, and then once I've unlocked a majority of tools to access hidden areas, I will then start exploring rather than trying to go for it immediately. Like, if you play a game like this and you, well, not necessarily this one's fairly well designed in that regard, but for a lot of times Metroidvanias, if you start exploring every nook and cranny, you'll just more often than not run into things that you can't actually access yet, and that will be more frustrating than helpful. So like, you'll be running around like, okay, I can't get this yet, can't get that yet, and you can't possibly remember all those things, so like, you very naturally create a fairly bad experience for yourself, in my opinion, if you focus too much on exploring too quickly. Because, again, you'll keep running into, I can't do that yet, I can't do this yet, and instead if you focus on like progressing for a while until you pick up a few of those key tools that allow you to function, then you're probably ultimately in a better spot. I find people often make their own frustrations with stuff like that, where they're like, hey, this is a like open world or whatever, so I need to stray off the beaten path as much as possible, and then they run into 15 things that they can't access yet, and they get frustrated with not being able to access them. And no, that's not directed at your prey through, Fandango. Don't worry, don't immediately feel attacked again. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, it sort of applies to your playthrough, but only in the, or playthrough, but only in the sense that, like, you kind of did that and make the game more annoying to explore at the start for yourself because of the way you went about that. But the thing that makes it like so that my main point isn't actually applicable is that you're not complaining about that. Like, you didn't say like, oh, there's so much to do, I can't do any of this, like, oh, I don't know what's going on, like in a negative sense, but rather as in like, oh my god, I really created a shit ton for me to do, and it's entirely like my doing sort of thing. So like, it's the attitude that is connected to that that bothers me usually when people do that sort of thing. Like, if you go around and you go out of your way to explore and you run into things that you can't interact with, and then accept that that is you going out of your way to explore, then I have no issue with that. It's just when you turn that against the game and say like, oh game, you bad, why can I not do all the things yet? Then you're kind of being an idiot. Not you particularly, but one is being an idiot when doing such thing. I mean, I better be Fandango's favorite streamer after finally getting him to play Outer Wilds, which is a fantastic experience that makes any man's life better, or woman's life better. And in this case, I am now guaranteed to be his favorite streamer for all eternity because I convinced him to play it. Proper life-changing experience. Yeah, but even there, you were jesting about that, you were joking about it, and it sounded like you were joking as well in the moment. Like, I don't think anybody took that seriously as a like, oh game, how dare you tell me thing I already figured out. But more as in like, oh nice, haha, I figured it out before, and like you were just having a laugh about that, rather than, you know, holding that against the game, which I think is the correct attitude there, so... It's kind of the, like... Fuck. It's kind of the fuck. It's kind of the, like, perfect counterexample in that regard, where, like, I figured this out myself after failing to get to the thing, and so the only person that can complain about that is also myself, because I made it this way, you know? And, like, that seems reasonable to me. Right, so we're here-ish. Do I want to go upstairs? Where does that lead again? Oh yeah, I think I want to do that early, so let's go do that. Oh, actually, I mean, it's probably gonna make for a slightly better experience, especially when it's so disjointed with me just a lot of times playing on autopilot. Let's de-equip that. We also got a new charm, which is the Thorns of Agony. Senses pain of its bearer and lashes out at the world around them. When taking damage, sprout thorny vines that damage nearby foes. So we equip this because it's only one, and then we, like, it costs only one, and then we also equip the Wayward Compost. So now if we open the map, you can see where I am. Ta-da, in real time. Look at how I actually, like, hold my map in my hand as I'm doing this. Pretty cool. I'm just doing that because why the fuck not? I'm not really invested into any of my charms right now, so I may as well spend that extra point. Oh yeah, and now that we have the dash, this is where we initially saw Hornet as she was fucking off. Now that we have the dash, we can just dash up here and not have to go all the way around. Can't make this one though, it's kind of awkward. Not that there's anything up there, it's just interesting that that's exactly too high. It's funny because I really like Brittle Hollow. Like even when I first played it, I thought it was a very interesting place. I personally had very little trouble with the like time-sensitive stuff, or like with instances of where like a thing I'm trying to get to just barely closed before me, or is barely too early, barely too late, or whatever. And thus I didn't get bothered by that very much, and I didn't mind it. Like, I think I might just instinctively have a very systematic and, like, efficient, I guess, way of exploring places like that and games like that, because, like, if, for example, I say, okay, I'm gonna go to Brittle Hollow because I wanna explore, let's say, the observatory that you were trying to get to. I think both of you have been there, so I can't talk about that without spoiling anything. But, like, I might say, like, okay, I wanna get to the observatory, and I might have to do that quickly because the observatory effectively closes for all intents and purposes, right? So at that point, I will just at the start of a loop say, okay, this loop I will go to the observatory and I will just go there. And if I like fail, then I will just be like, alright, cool. I'll just try again, and then I will just do that, and then I have done that, and then that's fine. Basically, like, if you just make up your mind to go explore a thing that is time sensitive, and you just go there early, then you're not gonna struggle very much with that. The game is, in my opinion, obviously that's ultra subjective because like difficulty is always super subjective, but like in my opinion the game is fairly lenient with its timings. Like even the most time sensitive thing is like still almost a minute, I think, before it actually closes. So as long as you just generally approach it with the mindset of, okay, I want to do this thing now, so I'm going to go do this thing now, then you're probably gonna end up fine in terms of the timing. And like, I don't know, I feel like it's usually just people trying to do too much in the same, like, segment or section, rather than, like, being more reasonable in what they're trying to do. And I mean, that's fine initially. Like, if you're approaching a new planet and you're like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing yet, I just want to see as much things as I can, then, or as many things as I can, then yeah, sure, that's normal. But once you have, like, a plan where, like, okay, I really want to go to this place, then you just go there as quickly as possible, or as your main goal, and you try to avoid distractions on the way there, and then you're probably fine to do that. The game's generally done, or designed in a way that nothing requires, like, massive amounts of dexterity, or, like, like, I don't know, like, the timing challenges aren't particularly precise and, like, difficult, so... Not initially, no, that's what I said, just, once you're at the point where I'm like, okay, I really want to now go to the observatory, then just fucking go to the observatory, don't fucking get distracted. You can check out the distractions at other times, like... Okay, I actually kind of need to focus on that, because I'm playing this very poorly. Not that this encounter is in any way, shape, or form difficult, but I'm just being very dumb. Okay, there we go. That was a bit close. So, like, distractions are normal, and, like, especially when exploring something for the first time, that you're like, oh my god, I want to see all the things and not getting to do that. That's also perfectly normal, but the, like, once you have a goal, is just kind of... Especially when you know the goal is so time sensitive, just like, okay, suck it up for a change, and there you go. Right, I think I'm done with this little section. Alright, we don't have a map yet. Can I go higher? Or is that for later? I don't think I can go higher from here. Where does that line up again? This just goes down there. Yeah, I think we're just done. Alright. Might be wrong. I feel like this is not what I'm thinking it is, but alas. Oops. Fuck's sake. So yeah, these thorns that come out every time we get hit, that's the charm that we just equipped. It is pretty damaging, actually. Like, if I remember correctly, the damage from those thorns is very high comparatively. I usually dislike them because, first of all, it makes you, like, it locks you into an animation for a tiny bit, which sometimes puts you in a bad spot where you just get hit again. And also, if that kills an enemy, I don't actually get any soul from it, because I'm not striking it with my nail. So, like, if I get hit and then the retaliation damage kills an enemy, that's, like, me not being able to get soul and recover my HP from it, so, yeah, it's not perfect either, so... I don't know. I don't think it's that good of a charm or whatever, but it's good enough to use those things. So, it's difficult to describe just how much better our movement has become thanks to the dash, because one thing this game does, which is kind of interesting... Oh boy. This will not shock anyone, but you later get a double jump. How surprising in a 2D platformer, not roguelike, Metroidvania. Like, who could have seen that coming? A double jump, innovative as fuck. But yeah, you get a double jump and you also have this dash, and anytime you pogo onto something, be that a spike or an enemy or whatever, you immediately get your double jump and your dash back, which is sort of unusual. Most games don't do that very much. Because it kind of, like, you get an absurd amount of mobility from that. So you could, like, double jump, dash, then hit an enemy, then double jump, dash again, hit an enemy again, and it gives you insane mobility if you're managing to chain that together appropriately. You can basically fly with that sort of thing. Aha, I have a wall I forgot to break. Look at that. Oh, wanna get nibbled. Wanderer's Journal. We haven't found any of those yet, so I shall show them in a sec. That might be one of the chests I forget the most, actually. Or one of the loot bits I forgot the most when playing this. So, those knights, for example, where I was trying to hit them from above, and then had to avoid their attacks afterwards, those are much, much, much easier with the dash, because I actually have the mobility to stay on top of them. Like, if I see them attacking upwards, or, like, blocking, and then they jump backwards to make me miss, I can just dash after them and hit them anyway, and ultimately we end up getting a lot of aerial mobility that way. It's very enjoyable. The base game doesn't have many places where that's useful. Like, the game never really expects you to use your absurd mobility, and the combat never gets really fucking hard without, like, a few exceptions here and there. So, like, it doesn't quite use that potential to its fullest in most instances, but it is a very fun extra thing that you can learn and get good with in this game. They're basically, like, two, well, these days there's also the, like, the Pantheon of the Gods, which is, like, the late game, I've done everything sort of thing. But, okay, I can't do that yet. Initially, there was, like, two challenges, one combat challenge and one platform challenges that are, like, the end game, the, okay, I'm now done with everything else sort of thing, like the hardest tests in the game. And only there do you really need to be getting good at the combat and at the platforming, respectively. So the game is fairly, like, fair in terms of what it asks of you. Can I actually not make that? No, I actually can't make that yet. Interesting. Okay. Feels like it shouldn't be hard, but I guess we're missing the next upgrade still quite heavily. Fun fact, if the money falls into acid, it also gets destroyed, which is unfortunate. Alright, we haven't been up here yet because we needed the dash to get up here, surprisingly. There's no connection from here to anywhere, is there? No. Yeah, I think we're just done with the majority of this place. Time to move on into the acid and be reborn anew. So we need 18k, or not 18k, that'd be quite extreme. We need 1800 to get the lantern, and I kind of want to get the lantern, so we'll be saving up for a bit longer. Isn't this? Yeah, this is the bench. Get fucked, Mr. Projectile Man guy. Oops. I did that so the thorns could damage it and speed up the kill by a lot. This was all intentional. Fuck. 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 Damn, that timing is actually a bit harder than I thought. There you go. I think I made that a bit more complicated than it needed to be. I could also just not kill it, but... Imagine not killing enemies. Oh, there's a thing here later that we can't do yet, but I think we might be able to pick up something else before then, and might as well do this while we're here. So this is not one of those actually dark places. This is not where you would need the lantern. I think the next room is where we want the lantern. Or would want the lantern if we would have it yet. Yeah, this is very dark. We want the lantern here. Let's not bother with that right now. What do we have here? Oh, it's this room, right? Another big old mini boss. Oh, fuck. I didn't remember doing that at all. Fuck. I shoot you. Could just kind of tank and spank that, that was fine. A lot of money though, 300 is a lot. Wait. Kids. Oh, they left. Oh well, can't blame them. I'll not bother killing you, or you, actually. Oh, you cheeky bugger. Can I just do that standing? Okay, I can do that standing. That makes it a lot easier. Yeah, past me was wrong. Past me is always wrong. I spoke about the double jump, so now my fingers were like, oh, we have double jump, nice, and just I keep trying to input double jump and it's not working for some very arbitrary reason. Probably something silly like us not having double jump yet or something, I don't know. Sounds made up either way. Get baited. Aha, a secret. Oops. Fuck's sake. There we go. Yep, that is how that is. I don't know why I'm killing these, but alas, here we are, killing these. Money, 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 money. Oops, I fucked up. So one thing that's interesting about the dash on this is that you have a, like, it goes a fixed distance. You can't, like, cancel it short by pressing the opposite direction or whatever. You always go the full distance. And that's kind of good and bad. Like, it means it's easier to do a lot of things, because, like, you always get the max dash distance. You basically can't fuck it up, but it also kind of limits you sometimes, where if you're trying to go across, like, a platform, or a smaller gap rather, you will always dash the maximum distance, and like sometimes you go too far and fall off. But it has its ups and downs. Don't worry, I'll save you. I don't think I can make that anytime soon. Yeah, no, this is not happening. Alright, cool. Guess we go back. Oh, that brings me back here, that makes sense. I was kind of hoping that Acid would put me all the way back at the start. I fucked up. They are indeed very fucking cute. I don't think I make that. Nice, we'll wait. Right, I think that's it for this part. Like, see that part to the left right there is, for example, something that we need an upgrade to access, and if I... Like, in a lot of Metroidvanias, you will constantly bump into areas like that. You'll, like, go off the beaten track for a little bit, and then after wandering for even just a screen or two, you will run into something like, oh, you can't do this yet, lol, and there's no reward. So you just go there, waste your time, and think, alright, I guess I'll have to remember that for the future. And I think that's kind of bad Metroidvania design. Not because you can't have a path that is only accessible in the future, but mostly because you kind of punish the player for exploring in that way. Like, you say, okay, have a drink and then explore, but haha, your exploration led to nothing because you can't open the store yet. So, like, it's kind of contradictory to what you actually want. So around the Fog Canyon now, there's these jellyfish. The small ones just get in your way, like they sparkle, but it doesn't matter. If you touch them, you take damage. The big ones are a royal pain in the ass, because if you hit those, their core starts becoming a homing projectile and trying to hit you, and it's very painful. I think it does 2 to hearts of damage as well, so it's pretty rough. But yeah, this game is, however, designed a little bit smarter than what I was just describing, because the exploration, even if you do run into something that you can't get yet, there's usually something before that that you can actually get. So you are generally always still rewarded for exploring things, or at least if it's a proper dead end, like this one, we can't go through this. Conifer is right there, but we can't get to him, which is a shame. So, even if you do run into a dead end, like, this was like, what, half a screen away? Alright, cool, guess we're back on the main track. And on that other side, where we just explored earlier, there was still something for us to get. There was a grub, and then more. So I think that's the, like, clever part about that. Like, you get to explore early if you want, and then you can find some loot, and possibly remember, oh, there's something for the future, but at the same time, you can also just not explore, and then come back later when you have all the tricks. Like, it's kind of the somewhat clever middle ground, instead of just going to explore and then realizing, okay, I can't do anything here and I've wasted my time. This room, I think, for example, I'll waste my time in, but we shall find out if my hypothesis holds true. Is there something down there? I don't think so. Nope. Kind of looked like foreground. Or like, playable terrain. Oh, we're here, right. We don't want to quite be here just yet. This loops back from the other side later. More of these gates that we can't interact with. And another gate that's open from the other side. Yeah, I think this is just a dead end for us for now. That also leads to a different area entirely, so... Ow, I was being very greedy there. Thought maybe I could just needle my way through. I could not. Yeah, so again, we found a dead end in the sense that we can't actually progress on the left side, but we also found some loot. We found a hollowness seal, or hallowness seal, and a... I want to say hollow all the time, I don't know why. It's kind of a difficult word to pronounce for me, like hallow. It doesn't quite make sense to my brain. I instinctively always want to say hollow. Anyway. the hypothesis once again held true. We found a dead end and we found some loot and a shield thingy, but that's kind of the same, right? So, ow, I just dash into that like a madman. So I think that's how you're kind of supposed to do that if you're making a Metroidvania. You want your players to explore, so don't punish them for exploring. I think this should be safe, yeah. Anything else here? I don't think so. Nope, okay, cool. Could have sworn there was something on the left. I'm probably just misremembering. Hey, we have a sign for a stack station on the right. Oops, I dashed into that. That was not ideal. Just in case anyone was unaware of this, dashing into big man projectile that hurts for 2 hearts of damage is not ideal play. I make the mistakes so you don't have to. Is this the room that I'm thinking of? It is not. This is another room. Alright then. Keep your secrets, Mr. Room. So that sound that occasionally plays is me filling out the journal for an enemy. So we have killed enough of the jellyfish now that if we go to the journal, we can now see that the jellyfish, which are somewhere here... Yeah. We now have the full entry for both of these. That little sound that plays as you like finish off the journal is actually fantastic and I really like it. It's something fun to pay attention to every now and then. When I kill an enemy, you hear that sound and it's like, oh yeah, cool. Like it just sounds so fitting in any way, shape, or form. In every way, shape, or form, rather. Ooh, fuck. Thought that was maybe far enough to the right. It was not. So if I was bad at directions, I would just break this sign and not pay attention to the fact that it shows me that there's something interesting to the left. I don't know why I keep bragging on about that, but here I am, whinging. It's my hobby. Hello.
Oh, Bakura Finello.
Millibelle the banker. Hello there, dearie. I was about to close up shop and run until you came along. I provide a banking service if you're interested. Losing one's geo is a terrible thing, and it's so much more likely if you're carrying it out on yourself. My vault is much more secure. In all my time as a banker, I've never lost a single geo. Maybe you'd consider opening an account. Pay to open an account. Sure, why not?
Just Geo.
You're a smart one. Next time some dreadful beastie gets the best of you, you'll be glad to know your geo is safe within my shell. Well, within my vault. Now let's do some banking. So we can deposit our money up to 4,500, or we can withdraw it, so we don't lose it if we die.
Kalala.
Goodbye then. Stay safe. Ew, kalala. Right, so this is one of the more important places. This is Queen Station, which means this was a big old hub for back in the day for Ye Olden Kingdom. Also Quill is here again because we keep stumbling across him for some reason. Isn't this something? I had not expected to discover so huge a stack station after that foggy descent. The boys of Hallownest must have been an impressive lot building such grand structures so far into these wilds. Seems the dangerous creatures about haven't yet made their way in here. It's the perfect place for a quick rest. So it is. Can you imagine this place in its time? Hordes of bugs traveling about the kingdom, stag bells ringing, the station bustling with activity and life. Now only our-like, even though it exists. That's a special thing, I suppose, to cherish these sites, even in their decay. Is it that, just faintly, you can still hear the echo of the bells? So, fun fact about this this writing and these signs. They are, of course, on some level complete nonsense, but smart people on Reddit have actually figured out that they do have, like, how do I say that? They have, like, rules and resemble some form of writing. Like, there is actually a language, or even 3 versions of this language, that has been developed for the game, and the signs, while they don't actually spell anything out or actually say anything, you can, like, in various places of the game, see these kind of writings in 3 different, like, not languages, but how do you say that? Like, types of characters, basically. and they do they do fit the various areas that they're supposed to be from, and that like they put actually enough effort into the game that you have different like styles for these sorts of characters depending on which like part of the world it was, which area, which kind of population and stuff like that. And that's like a fun little detail that you can learn about. Viril is lovely. I don't know what you would possibly think poorly of him. Also, alright, you also look absolutely lovely. Right, Willow. Oh, come in search of treats, have you? I chanced upon a unique little fungus growing right above us. I found it only in this station, and the taste is just divine. This place must once have been quite the hub, built at the border between two lands. That misty drop on one side and those bulbous growths on the other. Neither place seems particularly welcoming, so while my treats last, I think I'll just stay right here. Yeah. Feel free to stop by any time, though I do like the quiet in the station. A little company is always good for one's health. No. Enjoy your food, mate. We have another heart piece right there. I will continue to call them heart pieces. I think this is kind of the most common way of people knowing their functionality, and I don't think anybody's upset if I do that, so I'll just make it easy for myself and do that. So we've rested on a bench, we've filled in the map for, well, what we know, but we don't have a map, so we can't actually access it. The way that works is if we start exploring an area and, like, rest at a bench afterwards, when we then later pick up the map from Cornerford, it will automatically fill in all the stuff that we have seen, so it's not wasted before you buy the map. You've opened several stag stations now, haven't you? I'm thankful for the opportunity to once more travel through the kingdom. As I visit more places, I feel my memories returning to me, like the stagways of my mind are running once more. Continue to open the stations and you'll have my deepest gratitude. I shall. Don't worry, mate. Ah, this gladdens me. The Queen Station has opened once more. This place was a bustling hub of travel, well placed for travelers visiting the outer edges of the land. You're quite the explorer to find this place. Let's quickly return home and see if there's new stuff to buy. I kind of regret installing this on my SSD instead of my hard drive, because that little transition is shorter because the load screen is shorter. My understanding of Hallownest can be a little vague, but below those leafy caverns is a fungal grove, once home to peaceful creatures, not quite bug and not quite plant. Sounds almost worth a visit, no? Well, there's a downside, the dreadful stench, a noxious odor fills the place. You have anything new for me? We buy the lantern, oops. Anything new to say? I see they had opened a mapping station across the way. I suppose a little competition is healthy. Perhaps I should start to sell maps as well. They're still a little aggressive. All's fair in a world made of geo. Pocket's feeling empty. If you need some geo, take a trip into the ruins below us and hunt around. Just take care not to fall into the haze. I won't be coming down to rescue you.
Bafanada.
Two more markers for ourselves that we could use if we wanted to. I'm not gonna be spending money on those pins just yet. I might buy a few later. Nothing new of you. Let's just quickly do this. Yeah, that'll happen in this game as well. Like, some of their quote-unquote lines are, like, very striking, but also very charming and fun, so you will definitely have this happen in this game as well. Yeah, their language has changed a lot, even if you do set it to Monster Hunter language, I reckon. Right, let's quickly check on the inventory, because we actually have some stuff that I haven't put it out yet. So, looking at the Mothwing Cloak, cloak thread with Mothwing strands, allows the wearer to dash forwards along the ground or through the air. Okay, never mind, there's not much lore in here. But these we have picked up and not really interacted with. We have Wanderer's Journals, a journal left behind by a long-dead traveler. The words are written in a forgotten dialect and difficult to understand. Relic from Hallownest's past, this item now has little value except for those dedicated to the kingdom's history. Hallownest Seal, official seal of the Kingdom of Hallownest, symbolizing the authority of the king and his knights. Relic from Hallownest's past, blah blah, same shit. We've also picked up the Boulder Shell. Protects its bearer with a hard shell while focusing soul. The shell is not indestructible and will shatter if it absorbs too much damage. Basically, this charm allows you to... I mean, we can just demonstrate it, can't we? Let's unequip these. By the way, unequip these again. Oh, bench, right. Bench helps. Yeah, so we get this little defensive charm thingy while we're trying to heal, which is kind of useful in some circumstances. I'll stick with the compost thingy though. Yeah, I wonder how much the language did actually change, or if it's just like a perception thing based on which characters are speaking and stuff. We can't go up there yet. Get that heart piece. On we go. And we're now entering the Fungal Wastes. Another fine area with another fine track. We have these mates, which spew that bullshit at us, which is kind of not nice. Can I reach you from here even? Just at the tip. Aha, a sheet of paper. Conifer has been here. Looks like he went down. Let's follow those. I reiterate that this whole system of following the mapper's breadcrumb trail and then eventually tracking him down by sound is fantastic. Ah, my short friend, you've caught me at the perfect time. I'm just about finished charting these noxious caverns. Very territorial types make their homes within this area. I'd suggest avoiding them where possible. Further below, some strange thin creatures gave me quite a scare. They seemed an intelligent bunch. In my youth, I'd have braved their caves, but I fear my matured physique would not have been able to outrun them, were they to turn hostile, violent. Purchase map of the area. Yes, please. Here we go. Fungal wastes. Boing, boing, boing. Mushroom, punch it. That is open from the other side. That guy's a bit faster at exploding than the previous mates we've encountered. That we cannot interact with, so may as well go back up. Oops. So these smaller ones just float in, well, roughly in place. They're kind of not doing anything. It's still useful because you can hit them and get soul back, and you can even pogo on them in some occasions, but... they're not exactly a threat. Unlike this guy, who explodes. Exploding is always mean. I love the way they're doing the little balloon thing. Just deflating, flying around in a circle, or fading into the background. Looks like... wait, I messed up, I didn't want to go. I wonder if I even want to go up there yet. Guess we'll find out. Ouch. Yeah, so these mushrooms on the walls, we kind of want to be here. Not really, but we don't really have much of an alternative. Like, at some point we'll have to deal with this. So these guys are annoying as fuck, because these projectiles that they shoot explode, either after a while or on contact, or when you hit them. And I guess hitting them is kind of on contact, isn't it? So you kind of have to do shit like this, where you just circle around. And now, if you do that, then you hit them as they spawn their projectile, which still blows you up, so it's not great. Did I get away with that? Yep. Easy game. And we got another Hollowness seal. So as was kind of indicated by the descriptions, those are not exactly unique items. They're like... well... The description kind of suggested that there's a collector somewhere of historic items, and that guy might buy these. And we have not met such a guy yet, but we will eventually. So for all intents and purposes, you can think of them as like just bags of money that we get to trade in eventually. Fuck's sake, brain. Why fingers bad? Why not make fingers good instead? There you go. I'll take that trade, fuck it. Saw that coming and was like, no, fuck it, I'll just kill this before struggling with it some more. That one we might not been. That's kind of in an awkward spot. Can I get down here? I cannot. Oh, this room. These make lovely sounds. I think they also drop comparatively decent money. 8, I guess. It's not that much. So sometimes when you shoot someone with a fireball, or with the like vengeful spirit, sorry. When you shoot something with Vengeful Spirit, it knocks them backwards, and they get hit again by the projectile as it keeps traveling along the same line. So you sometimes get to multi-hit people with that, and it's very, very powerful. There's an upgrade that we get for the spell later that makes it deal more damage. Simple as that, for the same amount of soul cost, and at that point, if you manage to double or whatever hit people with it, it's very strong and can end them quite quickly. One of the things I eventually started doing upon playing this game more and more was to just keep mixing in the occasional big Vengeful Spirit shot between my regular attacks, because you build so much soul while striking enemies that you, as long as you're not taking damage constantly, you don't really get to spend it, so just putting those magics every now and then will increase your damage by a lot. Basically no cost or no effort. Can you not go down here? I just sworn this went down somewhere. It's a weird room. I don't remember this room being the way it is. Oh well. Probably just missing something. I guess it's just meant to help you loop around, or make you loop around. Right, so this room. This room should be super easy, but I have a tendency of dying in very stupid ways here, so let's see if I manage to die in very stupid ways again. Oh, that lingers and deals more damage, I forgot. Alright, so we have one dead, which makes life a lot easier. From here I shouldn't die anymore. If I die now, that's pretty bad of me. Okay, can't actually hit him right now. There's some overlap between the... I can't do that though. Oh, easy. Like I said, that should be an easy room, but I somehow occasionally die here. Hey, we got a Charm Notch. Charm Notches do exactly what you think they do. Now we have 4 slots for Charms instead of just 3, so that is a very, very nice find. Eventually we get a bunch more Charm Notches, not like super many, but a few, like enough to actually like equip multiple useful charms. And there is a thing in this game where if you combine charms together, like put multiple charms that affect similar things, they might synergize. Like you can find kind of hidden synergies between different charms, and that can be quite strong and useful. There's a few really cool ones. Most of them are kind of gimmicky and you don't really need them. I think most people also don't find many of them during normal play, but it is like a fun little extra thing to experiment with and see what you can find. Do I want to go this way or do we go up? I think I want to go up. I think that leads to a shortcut back to the beginning, and I want to unlock the shortcuts as we go. think I come down this way more often than I come up this way. Isn't this where the thing is? It is indeed. Hello. Don't try to sneak past me, I can smell you. Do you collect a lot of geo? Give me geo and you can see something. Nice. Do we pay him 86 geo? It's a very awkward number. Sure, we shall pay you 86 geo, Mr. Leg Eater. Don't eat my leg though. Let me show you then. Take a look. Do you want them? If you really want them, I'll trade them for more geo. More geo. Okay, he sells things. He sells 3 charms. These are interesting because they are very strong, but if you die while using them, you lose them and have to buy them again. So he sells the Fragile Heart, which costs 2 charm notches. This is a precious thing, a beautiful charm. I made it for you. If you hold it, you'll feel a lot healthier. It gives you extra health. This one gives you more money. A very special and valuable charm. Do you want to find more geo? Hold this charm and you go hunting. And then, oh yeah, if you're afraid of dying, you need this charm, and then bring any geo you find back to me. And this one says, Fragile Strength costs 3, because it's even better. You're weak, aren't you? You should give me geo. If you do, I'll give you this charm I made. It will make you stronger. Your enemies and everyone else will fear you at last. These are interesting. They're very, like, sort of high-risk, high-reward sort of charms. Spending, like, 600 on a charm that might just disappear if you die is kind of crazy, but they are very powerful. Like, if you're doing, like, one of the permadeath runs or whatever, you probably want to equip those, because they are, maybe not all of those, but, like, the ones that are relevant for what you're trying to do at the moment. I tend to buy them at some point anyway, and then just usually don't use them very much, because I kind of want to just have all the charms in case I want to mess around with them, but they are quite good, quite useful. The money one is actually not that good in my opinion. Usually, like, I don't remember if I ever really ran into situation. Nice, I managed to avoid literally all of the platforms. Very good. I don't remember running into many situations where I would just actively farm for money, so like, I don't think it's that good of a charm, but anything that upgrades your damage is always quite useful. Just doing the base game things, like, if you fully upgrade your weapon eventually and stack damage charms and just offensive stuff in general, you usually kill the bosses in a very quick manner and kind of defeat the purpose of the boss fights. So, like, you can, if you stack all the things that make you do more damage, you kind of go a little bit too strong in my opinion. But, yeah, fragile charms are an interesting concept and quite good. Alright, we have an area transition here. Is this actually a thing? Nice. I didn't remember this. Okay, well, it is a thing in the sense of there is something here, but nothing of value. So this just loops back up to the Crossroads. Ah, this was a jump we saw before, but couldn't make, because it's pretty high. I think we still can't make that, so let's not go down there just yet. Since there was a door here as well, and I kinda wanna see what's up. Or, well, down, technically. Alright, this is a floor that we can't break yet. If we had bought the map pin thingies, we could now slap a pin right here and say, hey, we need to come back here later with this spell, or this ability that we don't have yet. But since I didn't buy those, we can't do that. That was the fragile mate. That is nothing. This is where we go. Haven't we been through this room? Oh yeah, right, we rested at the bench though. Never mind. The boss geo. The big old gate here. Not that we can open it, but it is there. I promise. Slapped it. It's real. Fuck yeah. One explosion for a dead enemy. That is a fair trade. They do blow themselves up. That's pretty fun. Didn't remember that. I think this is actually where we want to go, so let's quickly go here first. We remember the Elder. Good for you. So yeah, this is the sort of pedestal, grave, inscription, statue, side, obelisk sort of thing, whatever. We can't do anything with those yet. Just show it off anyway, so we know for the future. Hello. You are fantastic. I like you a lot. Here's cloth. Aha! The tiny steps of a tiny creature. You got the look of an adventurer, so we've much in common. Searching for dangerous places, eh? Well, you're on the right track. A long-necked critter warned me of a tribe deeper down. Warrior swords, so she says, and I'm itching for some serious combat. Keep sharp, my adventurous friend. Stay alive and let's meet again on the road ahead. Right, will do. Cloth's great. We'll, meet her again. Ook. Oops. Again, I managed to avoid every platform on my way down. I always find those moments pretty funny when you're playing a platformer and there's like 15 platforms between you and where you're trying to go, well, where you're falling down, and you just, while falling down, you're trying to steer left and right, desperately trying to catch one of the platforms, and then you coincidentally avoid all of them, whereas if you had just fallen straight, you would just not have avoided them, and just been safe, but alas. Ooh, I saw something. Ow. Got hit as well. Die. Oh right, he explodes on death. Oops, my bad. Hey look, it's Horned. We're going this way, are we? Yeah. It's kind of like those moments in shooters when like the opponent attacks the very moment you start looking away from a thing. It just happens every now and then. It's nothing you can really do about that. It's frustrating when it happens too much, but it's also not something you can seriously avoid. So for platformers I usually just think it's funny, unless it's like a really like very unfortunate bad death and a bad timing. Like if I suddenly lose all of my money because of something like that happening, that'd be a little bit annoying, but I thought I could maybe sneak by. Oh my god, I'm bad. Fuck's sake. Get fucked. Mates. Yeah, I think you've either shown or talked about that before. I think I even saw that on your YouTube if you did though. I don't remember. Could just be another one of those instances from other maids. Right, and here we open a shortcut back. We've been here before. Oh yeah, I have the map with the pin, so we can now see where that was. Left way we couldn't go because there was like these steep climb thingies that we couldn't do, and we're heading back to the right then after having opened up the shortcut. And go left. Guess we're right. So we're intentionally not following Hornet right now. There's a thing you can do before following her here, and we're doing that first. So these are mantos, at least in this world. Not sure how like biologically accurate this is. I assume this is based on some sort of documentary that I've not seen. But yeah, these are mantos, and mantos are interesting. They're kind of an interesting tribe of warriors in this game, or in the context of this game. And they are... well, not too bad to deal with in a lot of situations, but sometimes they're a bit awkward. We'll see. Wanderer seeking death, welcome, may you find swift end upon our claws. Yeah, like I said, weird tribal warriors, basically. Must fight arena to died, sort of thing. Glorious combat. Oops. Ah, a bench coming up, how lovely. I think I wanna go in here actually while I'm here. Never mind, I think we don't. Oh, this is fine. Just the Mantis village, I'm sure this is a lovely place. Ow, I fucked that up. That looks like it might open at some point. Ow. Not doing this very well. But that's fine. Everything's fine. Oops. Yep, like I said, fine. Perfectly fine. Oh, I thought that was gonna open. What did actually happen? Oh, I think I opened the gate above. Mr. Mantos? What about his friend, Mr. Mantos? Oh, did you hit up on your keyboard accidentally? Because you can cycle through old chat messages by pressing up. I thought you were making a joke about, like, Mantis village being, like, name-wise, similarly suspicious place like Quirrell. Yeah, maybe you typed, or you hit up and cycled through your old chat messages. You got that accidentally. And here we have something important. Oh. Well, I still stand by my theory that you accidentally hit up. Mushroom land, whatever could it mean? Mantis Claw is what it means. We can now wall climb, basically, which is fantastic. So if we do this, we can slide down walls, kind of like normal, but if we press the button again, we can wall jump, and every game is better with a wall jump. So now we have step 2 of adequate mobility, I'd say. Oops. I can go up here, grab this loot as well. Loot all the loot. Oh, wait. The truth remains, our vigil holds, the beasts are kept at bay. So it seems like they're not just warriors for the sake of being warriors, but also warriors because they have to guard some bullshit. Fuck. Why did I think that would break so soon? Oop. Nice. God damn it, brain. There's actually a few things you can do to make that sort of, like, dashing at the right time easier for yourself. If you're sliding down a wall and press dash, you will automatically dash in the right direction. Like, I'm holding right towards the wall, and then I just press dash, and it puts me in the right direction anyway. So, like, that sort of thing you can use in tight quarters like that to make your life a lot easier. But I think that opened up the gate in the ground, didn't it? Yeah, so now I can go down there. Do we want to go down there right away? Sort of, maybe, kind of, a little bit. Let's go here first. Hydrate. Thank you. Oops. Oh god, I fall. Oh wow, that went much straighter down than I thought. Thought they were kind of locked at an angle where they couldn't hit me there. Fuck's sake. Fuck my life, I'm bad. You know what, I flee. Outplayed, silly bug. Bugger. Fuck's sake. Timing is horrible. Fucking goddamn. Control yourself. Hey, these are warrior bugs, they're not meant to be cute. They're alright though. We shall find out about that in a bit. Hey look, someone that's also in a weird haze like the shopkeeper was. Let's rescue them. It seems like a good idea. Excuse you? How much does a man need to drink in this old stream? Less Tyvum, but still Tyvum. And here we get a charm. The Dashmaster charm. It's one of my favorite ones. Basically, all it does, very obviously, is make you dash, or make your dash cool down quicker, so you can get dash more often. And as you may have been able to tell from me just dashing basically constantly to try and get from point A to point B in less time, I am addicted to moving fast, so we will probably equip that for a long while. Please don't make me hydrate for 2 full liters during this, because I've already drank a little bit and I already kind of need to go to the bathroom soon. Fuck's sake. Timing is horrible. So that makes me wonder, how did she manage to get all the way here? Like, what have you done? How did you get here? You must be secretly some sort of acrobat. Oh, please don't leave me behind. You forgot about me. I knew you would. Everyone always forgets about me. Oh, who are you? Your face, you're so... Hello, Bretta. I'm sorry, I got lost. I don't know how I ended up here. You came here to rescue me, Bretta, the girl that everybody just ignores. Sorry, when I look at your face, I can't believe you came all the way down here to rescue me. I didn't think anybody... Sorry, I mean, thank you. I mean, I'd better go back to town. I mean, I'd better get home. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm usually a person of great empathy, but you shall soon find out why I'm not too keen on old Bretta there. I am one too early. Go up here. Compliment. Well, you are a much, much better person than Bretta is. I guess that was a pretty cheap and easy one. Have to actually employ a brain on next attempt. Is there anything up here? I don't remember. I'll just fuck around and find out. Alright, shortcuts. More doors. Almost makes you toss a ring in a bonfire. Not exactly a bonfire, is it? Like a lava fire. Herder, I kinda mangled that. Very bad joke anyway. Let's just leave. Check out this side of the room. She's kind of a forgettable character. Like, I maybe made it sound like there's much more to her than meets the eye, but that was interesting that that didn't, like, click me in terms of hitboxes. Very precise. Not a very relevant character in the grand scheme of things, so don't read too much into that. I was just taking the easy way out by Oi, git! Let me in here! Taking the easy way out, rather than having to think of something actually funny to say. Oh, guess we'll go back in here. Oops. That said, I said 100% the truth. I stand by that completely. Oops. Fuck's sake. Oops. Why am I... Okay, never mind. Just focus a little bit and play this a little bit properly at least. May as well start getting used to focusing a little bit because there's a boss fight coming up, during which I may have to focus a little bit. This is a fantastic boss fight, by the way. Really like this one. Three angry bugs of undefined gender. Also not very angry, just fighty. Oops. So I may think that this is a fairly simple and easy moveset. And that this boss fight is kinda not very interesting, considering I just said this is one I might have to focus a little bit on. Good old harpsichord. Very underused instrument. That is fine with me. I guess they're called Mantis Lords rather than ladies, but that could also just be a general descriptor. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed one of them, because now we have two. Which, surprisingly, even though it's such a simple doubling up of the concept, makes for a very interesting and very entertaining boss fight in my opinion. Like, her, instead of one it's just two, now they do two things at once. That's just kind of fucked up, isn't it? No, that works really well with the moveset they cooked up for them. Oops. Too late to get hits in there. Maybe I should just not go for that and take my time to heal instead. Oops. Missed one of my hits. I wasn't pushed far enough back. I kinda don't wanna heal. Let's see if I can do this properly. -1. Uiuiui, that transitioned quickly into the one guy moveset. Easy. I shall also bow. Right, so now the store is open to me, and I can go through here. Do I want to go through here? Look at that, they're fucking massacring whatever lies behind this door. This door was closed for a reason, goddamn. This is the Deep Nest. This place is not fun. Well, it's cool, but it's not fun. This is not where one wants to be, if one has a choice. Like, look at the spiky pits now being fucking, how do you say that again? Contextualized by being a writhing mass of spiky, toothy bugs, where you don't exactly want to fall into. Anyway, we don't want to be here yet, so I'll... Oh, I saw something there that I should interact with, though. Let's just go back and have a quick shot. So, you know I said that there's always the fun part of finding Cornifer when you first enter an area? Well, here he is, not humming, not singing, not leaving paper trail, he's just hiding, he's not having a good time. This place gives me the creeps. Vicious little creatures burst out all over the place, and the passages are a dark, twisting maze. At least you're well prepared, I'd urge you to leave. Though if you're feeling strong enough to descend, would you like to buy my map? Yeah, sure. $38 only, because he himself feels like he hasn't done much exploring here, and he is right, that is not a lot of the map that he has seen. What a horrid warren of angry beasts. It's going to take a whole lot of effort to climb out of this dark pit. I think I'll hide here a little bit longer. Yeah, so this place has multiple entrances, and we came in from the most controlled and least scary entrance. There's a way that you can just fall into this area and be kind of stuck there if you commit a little bit. And it is also a place that makes very good use of the darkness mechanic. Yeah, you missed these three angry ladies that just bowed to me, and I now bow to them as well. We have decided these are canonically ladies now. But yeah, the Deepness is a very interesting, very intense, very like spooky place, very atmospheric. The issue is that, first of all, I kind of know my way around for the most part, but also we entered it from the part that is the least scary, because we kind of are in full control of when we go there and when we want to leave. If you're coming in from one of the other entrances, and you eventually just find Cornifer after stumbling through the dark maze of monsters that burrow out of the walls and are very spooky, you're like, holy fuck, finally, please give me the map, and you can 100% relate to the man cowering in fear. Anyway, interesting thing that happened. You may have noticed that the other mantis didn't attack me anymore, and now I am allowed in here, because I have challenged them and I have won. So we are now allowed in the mantis village. We have the Mark of Pride, which is a fantastic charm. Also, we have me failing at basic platforming, which is not a good charm, but alas. We have a bench. Update the map. Why not? And this is where we're at right now. This darker, it's a color scheme like ochre maybe, sort of. Part is the mantis village, the rest is just the regular fungal wastes. And that big old chunk on the right side that we didn't go to is where Hornet was, which I said we weren't gonna, or whom I said we weren't gonna immediately follow. I like that the mantises in their like home have all these fucking spikes to just climb and fly around. They know their fucking practice regimen. Get a Hellenast seal. Not terribly important. And then in here we have another chest with a bunch of money. You can kind of consider that our reward for beating the Mantis Lords. Right, so we now have a few more areas we can explore in here, because we can now do the wall climbing thing. So those vertical shafts that we couldn't access before, we can now climb up them, all of them. So we can now explore the majority of the fungal wastes if we want to. Not sure how much of that we're gonna actually do before just moving on. But yeah, we are, again, a lot more mobile than before, so now the world is open to us. In many more ways. You don't do contact damage, do you? No. I really like that effect of, hey, here's the boss, you challenge them and like to like an honorable duel, you beat them, and then the rest of the tribe is like, alright, well, we're no longer hostile to you. Like, they just respect you for having challenged and won. Yep, they're absolutely lovely chops. That said, I also liked them before. Can't argue with them just being trained lifelong to defeat intruders, and then you intrude, so why wouldn't they challenge you? Oh, this room, right. Maybe I shouldn't actually be here just yet. Oh well, we'll quickly loot this. Yeah, their lives probably aren't particularly easy either. But then again, neither are mine, and they're kinda inevitably making it harder by being in the way. And sometimes just attacking on side, because why not? Oops, I didn't mean to go down here again. Yeah, let's actually not dawdle too much here. Let's just move on to the next area. You can always explore later. There's a few things I want to do in the next area, so I'll just go do that. Was that here? No, we're too low, aren't we? Yeah, we're much too low. Need to climb up instead of down. Oops, that's the dead end with loot. So, one thing is, that's a little bit awkward, we can still attack and kill these mantas, and they still drop money and give us soul if we do so, and they won't be fighting back, which is kinda mean. I personally don't like doing that, but if you are ruthless, you could just say like, oh cool, free cash, and just kill them on site still, which, you know, you do you, but I prefer if someone is like, hey, you've earned our respect, feel free to pass by in peace, I'll give them peace and pay. I do my usual thing of not fighting anything that doesn't want to fight me, basically. Right. Again, we have this weird symbol with the 4 prongs, and we have the Hollow Nest seal up here. The top. Also in the foreground here. Here ends the pilgrim's way. Hellenist's heart lays open before you. Proceed onwards to share in its glory. It's a bit of a missing bridge right there, so I guess we'll have to climb. Oops. I kinda like this platforming section. It's fairly short and sweet, but does this job well enough? A bit of a resting spot where we can refill our soul. And then here's a switch, and we flip it, and blah, 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 blah. Now the bridge is opened, at least to this point. Even has a little railing here, which is nice. It is only background railing instead of both foreground and background, which doesn't make quite as much sense, but hey, still a fun little detail. And here we do the same. Bonk. Now the bridge is completely restored. Yay! Alright, Cybot, welcome in. You arrive at an unfortunate time because I'm kind of looking for a good spot to stop sometime soon, but you are definitely welcome to hang out here for the remaining however few minutes it's gonna be. Anyway, we're gonna insert our, not penis in here, but our, instead, crest to the city and open the gate. And this may prove to be a somewhat mediocre decision because there's already dead people right here, and yeah, the gate's now closed, so we're kind of stuck. Oops. Oh well. Didn't want to leave anyway. There is, however, a path up here. I disagree, I love the white pillars. If I start that, I can't stop it. But here's some breakable floor bullshit, which we have seen before, so maybe in the future we're not as trapped as it looks. Also, you apparently know this game, which is very nice. Man proves once again his fantastic taste in video games, knowing all the good video games. Oops, oh right, these explode. I don't remember what's up here. Oh right, this is just the shortcut for the future. Nearly finished it, well. I see, so you were not just joking about what you were saying, I reckon. I haven't finished it since I haven't done the god thingy, Pantheon of the Gods thingies that they added. But everything before that I've fully cleared multiple times. Oh, nice. That goes. It's interesting that you didn't finish after doing what is, for most people, the hardest part of the game. Also, I should probably stop rambling for a sec while we enjoy the beautiful ambience. Actually, this is a fantastic place to stop coming up right here. Now that I remember. So, we elevator. Jump off elevators because this is Dark Souls, so we can read some lore because this is Dark Souls. The great gates have been sealed. None shall enter. None shall leave. How do you do this again? Oh yeah, right, I just climb up here and do this. I see, fair enough. Yeah, there's a few side bits that can be quite annoying to do. Hey, Quill. The capital lies before us, my friend. What a somber place it seems, and one that holds the answers to many a mystery. I too have felt the pull of this place, though now I sit before it, I find myself hesitant to descend. Is it fear, I wonder, or something else that holds me back? See, it looks to be built into an enormous cavern, and the rain pours down from cracks in the stone above. There must be a lot of water up there somewhere. I suppose if the cave roof stayed strong this long, it should hold for us. Before I leave this kingdom, I'd like to see where all that water comes from. What a sight it must be. Remember that line? If you look down from here, though, through the rain, you can just make out those twisted sentries, their husks still stuck in an endless patrol. I'd be cautious around them, my short friend. Their training will not have been forgotten. This city presents some formidable foes. Isn't this a wonderful spot for a rest? I still love the sound of rain upon glass. You are not wrong. Look at him oogling over. And if we too sit on a bench for a while without doing anything, we kind of, not doze off, but like kind of slump over as well. Another fantastic little detail. Let's quickly have a look. We want to equip the Dashmaster Charm, so goodbye thorns. Bears the likeness of an eccentric bug known only as the Dashmaster. The bearer will be able to dash more often as well as dash downwards. Perfect for those who want to move around as quickly as possible. The second part of that I really dislike. I dislike the ability to dash downwards. On paper it sounds good because, like, hey, it's more mobility, that's what you want, right? But at the same time, I accidentally get downwards inputs sometimes, and then I dash down into damage rather than, like, dashing flatways when I want to do that instead. So for me, that has only ever harmed me rather than helped me, but on paper it should be another good thing. Then we have the Mark of Pride, which we got by the Mantis tribe. Freely given by the Mantis tribe to those they respect. Greatly increases the range of the bearer's nail, allowing them to strike foes from further away. This simply increases your attack range. That sounds very minuscule, but it is actually quite a strong effect, and in my opinion it's absolutely worth using. Like, the extra range can be very, very handy in many situations. Like, reaching the, I don't know, just in general, there's plenty of situations in this game where having just a little bit of extra range is quite nice. There's a second charm here, I think that ultimately also sits right here, that also increases range, and if you stack both of those, it is very noticeable. Like, obviously it's not like, oh yeah, I attack full screen, haha, we Nagoro Yuki now, but it is still a significant increase in range, and it is quite helpful in my opinion. So yeah, that's where we'll be heading. So that's so far all that we have seen of the map. We're in the Hollow Nest actually now, but don't have the map for it yet, so nothing to see as of yet. And yeah, I think we're just gonna call it a stream here for today. Still managed to somehow eke out 3.5 hours of stream, despite the initial starting issues, so yeah. Well, I hope you had fun, I hope you enjoyed this game. If I'm lucky, I'll convince myself to keep streaming this. I'd like to do a full playthrough of this at some point. This is a very fun game, and having a full playthrough of it up would be fun, but alas, we shall see how it goes with me and my dumbassery. Thank you very much for watching, I hope you had fun, and I shall see you next time. Bye bye!